message from a new world I'd never known. Something about it felt like it'd been waiting my whole life. Is this home? I can hear each sound calling my name, and I feel angels around when I start to sing. And suddenly it feels like heaven's not so far away. Tell me, can you hear the symphony? Panic, panic, I can't help but think that it's meant to be, that I'm finally right where I'm supposed to. If I let you into the secret, would you listen? I can hear each sound calling my name, and I feel angels around when I start to sing. And suddenly it feels like heaven's not so far away. Tell me, can you hear the symphony? Panic, panic, and before too long I found where I belong. I can hear it, I can hear it, oh. I can't stop the rush, every note I touch. I can feel it saving me. Tell me, can you hear the symphony?
Where you look, where you touch, where you feel, yeah. Where you look, where you touch, where you feel, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you?
Will you know? Will you touch? Will you feel? Yeah. Will you know? Will you touch? Will you feel? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Will you know? Will you touch? Will you feel? Yeah. Will you know? Will you touch? Will you feel? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wanna know your dark side. I wanna know your secrets. I wanna be your lifeline. So I wait for you, wait for me. Wait for you, wait for me. Tell me you're more than just a highlight. Pretty pictures on the outside. I hate to stare at you through these lights. So I wait for you, wait for me. Wait for you, wait for me. Click and scroll, I can't let you go. They say I'm addicted to you. Click and scroll, I can't let you go. They say I'm addicted to you. Oh, oh, this ain't love, no, no. This ain't love, no, no. This is artificial. This ain't love, no, no. This ain't love, no, no. This is artificial.
I wanna know you inside and out. Wanna know what's behind the light. Wanna feel that real love from within. Let me in. I want real love, real hearts. You're just enough to get me through, get me through. 'Cause you're officially perfect for me. So I wait for you, wait for you.
Up all night thinking, passing the time, anxiously waiting. You're mine, losing and winning. You can't get it right. Hoping you see me from more than just nights. Up all night thinking,
Am I on your mind? Will you come meet me and change my life?
this love could be deeper. Just
Thinking, will you love me?
click and scroll, I can't need a scarecrow after what you did, 'cause all of the birds know that I'm almost dead. I'm barely breathing, I'm barely awake. You left me in pieces, there's no more to break. Don't wake me up, not in this century. Don't wake me up, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. You're just a memory on my lips, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. I need an angel after what you did, 'cause you were the devil, you messed with my head. You lied to my mother, you lied to my friends. You said that you'd be there, but this never ends. Don't wake me up, not in this century. Don't wake me up, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. You're just a memory on my lips, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. 'Cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. You're just a memory on my lips. You're just a ghost inside my head. Oh, you're just a ghost inside my head.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the main stream of the NECC here on this lovely Wednesday evening. We are here with some League of Legends action as we're taking a look at the Legends division, the Legends Northeast, to be specific, as we have Rutgers University taking on the undefeated St. Clair College. My name is Orbital. With me is the best being into, at this point, not wandering off the rift, but finding their way off the rift. It is Random Minion Caster. RMC, how you doing?
Finding my way off and immediately going back in, Orbital, because that's what we're looking to do. Get back onto the Rift here in the Legends division, as you point out. Now, Legends, it is worth noting, this is the highest division of NECC play. And tonight, our teams from Rutgers, Varsity Black, and St. Clair Saints, both of them average about Masters Plus in terms of their average ELO in their team. So definitely really, really high level. Now, there are some differences. Rutgers Varsity Black, they're coming in with some roster switch-ups tonight. They've got a new AD carry stepping in here. Thomas coming in. First time tonight playing with the team, actually. So going to be a little bit more difficult for them. St. Clair Saints, on the other hand, that's a team that, if you follow the NECC, you'll be familiar with. They've been around for a while, second place in spring here. They do have some roster changes since spring, quite a few changes in and out. But they've looked really good thus far. Currently 3-0, sitting top of the table in the Legends Northeast division.
And not just sitting at the top, but also experimenting while being at the top, right? This is not a 3-0 with following up with a 6-0 in terms of game score. This is them sitting at the top while still kind of understanding what they want to play with, right? This is them, dropping a map here or there, but as they stylistically change, that is something that I am very, very interested to see on their own, as they are bringing in a coach that's also well known in some of the PG circuit or the AM scene itself. Liar coming in as their coach for this season.
Yeah, and interesting that you should mention their coach as well, because Area of Effect Esports, a big amateur organization, well, not only they bring in their coach, but the AD carry for St. Clair Saints this season, Rock Boom, comes in from that development program from that organization as well. So coach and AD carry already some inbuilt synergy for the team of St. Clair Saints. Their support as well, also coming in from the amateur circuit, previously from Team Zeus, who had played in the open qualifiers for the Proving Grounds, the LCS Proving Grounds circuit. And that's a terrifying bot lane to put together here. Now, I don't know if they used to play together at all in the amateur circuit, but at least here in the NECC so far, this bot lane has been crushing it.
And that's actually going to be a big challenge for Rutgers. As you rightly so pointed out, this is a team that is starting to develop a little bit more solo QS, just high level skill from them. Taking a look at the top, it's Pun Pun with the Grandmaster behind it. Please Be Quiet in the mid lane is sitting at Masters. And then, of course, Cynical sitting there about P3 last season, sat at about Diamond levels, so still high level play there. But Thomas Yu and Silver, Thomas Yu coming in, as you said, the main one to kind of watch for this brand new addition to the roster. And when we say new, we mean new.
Yeah, so even our lineup here, still shows the old AD carry here of Rutgers Varsity Black, who had to step aside due to real life commitments here. So Thomas, like we said, first time he's stepping in and playing with this team here. Now, the champion pool isn't that different. So in terms of drafting, I'm not expecting to see a big difference. The question is the synergy, right? The 2v2 situation. And unfortunately, out of all the lanes, the lane that demands the most synergy is that bot lane here, because not only are you doing 2v2, but when your jungler comes, it's 3v3. Your bot lane often controls access to the dragon as well. So Rutgers, the big question for them is how quickly can they integrate this player and how quickly can they come together?
And taking a look at the other side for St. Clair Saints, you're going to take a look at Ricky LaFleur, a returning player coming in here and, just giving it their all here. And then Alonzo, too, working their way in the jungle. Bakery Boy in the mid lane. Rock Boom, as we so rightly said, in the ADC role. And then Rafa 20 sitting at that support role. All top tier players, all players that are going to be having, hopefully, a fantastic time to continue their series win streak.
Yeah, now, Ricky LaFleur, the one returning player from that spring roster here, Orbital. And I'd like to highlight him a little bit because Ricky is a monster in lane. And Rutgers, right now, there are a bunch of solo queue players coming together, trying to work together. So their advantage is being good, individually good. If they can win lane, maybe they can win game. Ricky LaFleur is going to be a sticking point for them in trying to do that, because we've seen Ricky take over games. Before we came on stream, we were just talking to our producers and observers here, and Observer Peter was mentioning that, hey, he remembers Ricky, specifically Mordekaiser, just taking over the game, 1v5ing towards the end of things. Yeah, and Ricky has expanded champion pool. 8 games played so far by St. Clair Saints. Ricky has played 7 unique champions, so he's only doubled up once on champions pick so far, and he's won almost every single lane. So definitely a lane to watch, because Rutgers will need to crack that if they want to try and win this.
And I just want to highlight how crazy it is to have that deep of a champion pool, right? There is a understanding between a lot of players. Usually about 3 to 4 is what you're looking at, right? 3 to 4 is where you see is almost that sweet spot of, hey, these are the champions that we need to either not get banned out and to have still a very stable pool to select from. To have 3 to 4 is that ideal number. To have 5, which is actually what we see on the side of Rutgers varsity, that is the highest number of unique picks between their jungle, their mid, and their support player. All of them have played about 5 unique ones, and even for them, you've seen them have a little bit of a struggle, right? In their overall game score, it's about 3-4 is what they're sitting at. So even for them, it's a little bit tough. To have 7 and to still boast that you are a strong laner, have won almost all those matches, is absolutely feared. It means if you throw any bans to that top side, it feels like you're throwing a penny into a well. You ain't filling that gap that's currently there. So Ricky LaFleur are going to be drawing a lot of attention, and that's going to be something that Cynical and Pun Pun are going to helpfully bring into power here, because Pun Pun is going to be saying, hey, you know what, I'm a big carry for the team as well, but Cynical has also been trying to pick up that carry mantle, so both of them might be looking to edge to that top and say, hey, we're gonna take a crack at Ricky LaFleur.
Yeah, and for specifically the jungle role here, Orbital, for Cynical, I feel like there is a small opportunity for Cynical here, known to be a bit of a Master Yi player. Actually had it perma-ban. I think it's 100% ban rate so far against Cynical. We'll see if it gets through or not. But the fact that you're a Master Yi player says that you're a carry player. You want to take the game on your back. And when you look across the rift onto St. Clair's jungle, Alonso is actually a European player. He's from Germany, just joined St. Clair this split here. And when you look at his champion pool, he's got picks like Nunu, Graves, Trundle, things that affect the game early. But in the NECC so far, his most played champions are Nocturne and Diana here, both who need to get to level 6. So if they do opt for that sort of scaling jungle pick again for Alonso, then, well, there is an opportunity here. Unfortunately, we're into drafts, and they've switched it up. It's going to be that ever-present Maokai that snuck into the world's meta.
Yep, and again, we are taking a look at the draft as the players are picking it in their respective roles, so we'll try and update you on some of these more important ones that we are seeing here. And the Maokai, I think, is a great one to highlight, still being the standard and still being in that jungle role. What we're seeing on the flip side, though, is that Jax, and now the Jax for Rutgers was picked all the way at the very end. It was actually a B5 pickup after watching some of the other bands go through. Very specifically, the Fiora was tossed there. The Dr. Mundo was the answer, so saying, hey, we're going to take that big bruiser in the top. And then following through, it's a big team fight composition coming out of Rutgers, but into the long-range poke of St. Clair, that Azir automatically tells me that they're not going to be playing up and in your face.
Yeah, Azir is one of those champions you can kind of blind pick. He's never really bad. There aren't terrible matchups for Azir. At worst, you face Assassins, and if you play it safe, you'll be fine. You'll always bring that zone control and that additional bit of poke as well in these setup situations. Now, the Caitlyn with the Azir, though, Orbital, that's terrifying, because already with the Maokai, there's just no way for you to engage onto this composition of St. Clair and Rutgers. They actually opted not just for team fight, but a close short-range team fight with that Kai'Sa here. Kai'Sa's the longest range champion of the team, and her range ain't that long. So I'm already worried for these team fights when it comes to Rutgers. How are you going to reach this Caitlyn? How are you going to reach this Azir?
Well, now there's another added step to it, right? Because we saw what the last lock-in is here for St. Clair, which is that Morgana. And that was actually picked up in R4 position after we saw the Nautilus, the Sejuani, and the Kai'Sa. The fact that even if you reach either Caitlyn or Azir, and then you have to work through the Black Shield as well, spells disaster for what Rutgers were hoping to do, because any good Morgana player is going to have that Black Shield on hold. Any Morgana player is going to say, I'm going to keep at least one of the carries very, very strong and very, very healthy and non-CC'd. And it's one of those moments where you're just sitting there going, man, we forgot about that. We knew it could be coming for Rutgers. It's a giant slap in the face that they're going to have to work around.
Well, I'm not even thinking of the carries necessarily orbital. I'm thinking Black Shield on Mundo. Can you imagine that? Already tanky, hard to bust through, and suddenly you can't CC him. He can tank up all that Sejuani engage. Likewise with that Nautilus here. And again, with that range advantage that St. Clair's have dropped it themselves here. I'm looking at maybe Silver to try and engage with the Nautilus out, the depth charge, but I don't know if you can actually even get into range to do that, get past that Mundo, get past that Maokai. So, we've been harping a lot on St. Clair Saints to draft really strong team fight, get to an objective first, then deny the enemy any access. What can Rutgers do? Because their comp originally was meant to get a team fight. If they can find a flank, they can still find the engage, because as much as Mundo and Maokai will be in the front, if you somehow get onto the back, they are a little bit exposed and punishable on that front. The other thing they're looking to do is split push. We know the Mundo was picked as the counter pick to Punch Jax here, and Mundo does do fairly well into Jax in terms of dueling. You can always just disengage with cleavers if you don't want to fight that. Jax will have some trouble sticking onto you. You're enough of a stat stick and you've got enough health that Jax can't burst you down either. But eventually Jax will outscale, and there's very few champions who can match a late game Jax when he's all skilled up. Mundo is not one of them. So for Rutgers here, they kind of need to accelerate the pace of the game. If they can get ahead, they can potentially stay ahead by just forcing engages with their teamfight comp. Or if they fall behind, they just need to stall up for Pun as much as possible and go for that split push game.
So the question now becomes, does Cynical actually decide to move towards that top lane, as we said, for Pun, or do we see that Sejuani rotate out? Because now it's not so much a carry jungler, right? We were saying, Cynical, hey, get on that carry, get on that hard carry, and be another main force. With some of those carry junglers, it does derive the fact that, hey, we are going to be a little bit more selective of where we want to gank. With the Sejuani, it's a bit more open game, right? You can go to the mid, you can go to the bot lane, you can kind of pick and choose without falling too far behind. That's the best part about a Sejuani, about this more engaged jungler position. But do we see that option still available? Do we see that top lane still as a highlight point to work for Rutgers? Are we going to see them focus a bit more towards that mid or bot lane?
For Rutgers, mid isn't anywhere you're really looking at. When you pick that Galio, especially into an Azir here, you're not looking to win that lane. You pick that Galio for side lane pressure here. So definitely not mid. Top is conditional, because that relies a lot on how Pun and Ricky LaFleur play out this lane. If Mundo gets an early lead, Sejuani ganks aren't terribly effective against that Mundo, especially post 6. Again, yes, Sejuani does have % health damage, which is good in extended trades against stat sticks or tanks. But in terms of the burst damage, if Ricky's winning out that lane and Pun can't help you win it, then you forget that. I think you just double down on that bot side early if you are Rutgers. Because we mentioned, if they can get ahead, they can stay ahead, right? This is a really good engaged composition here. And granted, there's an Azir on the other side, there's a Maokai, there's all of that. But if you're far ahead enough, none of that matters. You can eat the poke going in, and you can just force those fights. So I'd like to see the attention paid to the bot side. And for St. Clair, I'm sure they know that. So I'd expect to see Alonso try and cover this bot lane as well. Morgana Caitlyn tends to be a pushing lane, so they need to make sure they're warded. If you do punish that Caitlyn Morgana early, if a Caitlyn falls behind, well, she's not very useful for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and that's always the dark side of that coin that Caitlyn has had after exploding onto the scene, we should say. It's been a huge point. A lot of people have been picking it up, especially with the crit changes. So a lot of people really like that pick, but you are correct. If it falls behind, it becomes a massive problem. And we're going to have to wait and see as these two teams are hoping to get underway. And I mean, this is the start to what we hope to have an amazing series. St. Clair Saints sitting there with a 3-0, looking for a 4-0 to follow. For Rutgers, it's going to be their chance at getting a huge win off the back of what can be seen as one of the major Goliath teams sitting here in their division. It's going to be one that they're going to chase for, as well as their first official win. Their first win actually came off of a forfeit, so looking for their first series victory over a team. So I'm very, very excited to see what they can do. But of course, we're getting underway with game number 1. Rutgers Black on that blue side and St. Clair Saints on the red. And the best part about it, RMC, these two teams do have supports that would like to invade or be ready to get a pick.
Yeah, good covered by Thomas already here to make sure they don't get invaded. And for St. Clair, I think, once you get kind of caught on the invade here, you just back out, disengage. There's no need to risk anything. I like the idea. I always like level 1 invades. I like early aggression. Didn't, unfortunately, quite pan out this time. And now Cynical, he's going to go in and is he actually even going to just drop a ward? He has a ward in inventory, and a lot of times we see junglers drop, go back and swap out.
There it
no,
is.
he's just, oh, there we go. Last second.
It's being efficient with your time, right? Hey, I'm gonna recall, but as soon as I drop on the recall, I'm gonna drop it in. You can see here, right? No real information granted over to the side of St. Clair. It is a perfect ward in that essence. So Rutgers are gonna have full information about what's gonna happen with Ricky Lafleur, as well as Alonso. Both these two are going to be taking this red buff, working from top to bot, and that means that for this for Cynical, they're going to be doing the opposite, working for the bot side up.
Yeah, and it's a good call from Rutgers here, trying to just avoid the counter gank. And we already said that, hey, focusing bot's probably the best call for both of these teams here. Alonso is going to want to cover that. So Alonso's doing just that. And now it comes down to your top laners. How well can they lane? Because, again, if Punpun's kind of low on health early, then you can't really gank top effectively as Cynical, and then the early pathing doesn't matter. You're just kind of going full clear anyways. But because you know where Alonso is, because you've got that information inequality working in your favor here, you really, really want to put Ricky in a position where you can punish him, get him to overextend, get him kind of low.
If you're kind of baiting that one out right now, they are sitting in the middle of the lane, which is understandable, but bot side, we're already seeing some problems come down. A simple pan to Thomas shows that they have been bullied beyond recognition, already lost that cleanse, and already lost the potion with only 3 CS to their name.
Yeah, it had to be a binding landing from Rafa there to chunk Thomas that low. And now they're going to try and turn, but I don't think they actually win that trade. They kind of do, I guess. Rafa is going to eat that damage. Keep in mind, Morgana does have sustain when she lands abilities on champions.
And the fact that it was also identified that, hey, it was a level 2, but now the junglers are going to meet, and Cynical eating a decent chunk because of the fact that bot lane was already poked out, though, Thomas Yu. It means Cynical is the first one to back away, and now we get Rockboom and team forcing that fight under tower. But look at this dance. Again, topside, we saw a little bit of a song and dance. Ricky Lafleur getting a little bit of a challenge, but the binding lands through the minions. Alonso, though, can't follow up, and Rockboom is going to eat 2 tower shots. Has to burn that ghost as well. So the teasing of the teams in top and bot lends to summoner spells being blown.
I've got really mixed feelings about this particular series of events here, Orbital. I would have loved to see Cynical gank top. I think they would have found the kill on Ricky. But if Cynical wasn't bought, those would be kills. Now, Cynical wrapping around the back here. Flash is available for both of St. Clair's bot laners.
Well, you know what, RMC? You said you wanted to see the bot lane be focused, and they do see it nonetheless. Rockboom jumping in to get the first kill. Now Thomas is going to be taken quite low. Cynical is going to get bound, but that's a flash under the tower, and that's a flash to fall. Rockboom follows up, and Alonso is able to survive. Messy Fiesta in the bot lane leads to a 2-1 in favor of St. Clair.
If you're St. Clair, you weren't even sweating. You knew you had that in the bag here. And hence my kind of question about Cynical wrapping around. It's so risky with both flashes up here. Cynical going bot saved his bot lane, but trying to extend the engage does not favor them whatsoever. And now this Caitlyn's online. Both kills went to Rockboom here, and good luck, Thomas. Like, Kai'Sa, she's good, but until you hit level 6 here, you're going to have next to 0 agency in this bot side. You won't be able to do anything but try and farm a turret.
And not only was it just 2 kills, it was first blood as well, right? First blood went over as well, and that's just terrifying to think about. So everything that Rutgers were hoping to break out in the bot lane is not going to work in their favor. This is going to, as you said, cause some problems for Thomas Yu, leading to a top lane situation, as now it's Ricky Lafleur and Punpun that we're watching for, but on the bot side, a hook went out, and now Silver is going to eat a brunt of the damage. It's a Noon Quiver already built up for that Caitlyn, but Ricky Lafleur overchasing without flash is now going to have to try and walk away. In goes the stun, in goes the jump, and Punpun makes it easy.
Well played, coming through from Rutgers there. That's what I wanted to see originally from that top side, and they successfully do it. Punpun is missing a lot of CS to put this pressure down here, but the experience is more important. And this time, Ricky doesn't have TP to get back to lane. So Punpun wants to freeze this lane here and let Cynical come back for the regank. I think that'd be the most efficient use of resources on this top side.
Yeah, I mean, you've already secured that fact after winning, actually, I believe it was a level 3 duel in the top side. So at this point, we can see Cynical going, okay, maybe I play towards that top side. Maybe we actually look to Ricky Lafleur. Mid lane, of course, we're seeing Bakery Boy just have a great time, but Dragon is currently up, so I'm curious if we're going to see some bot lane action once again with the camp spawning as well for both junglers. If we're going to see that Cloud Dragon taken off, of course, early Clouds don't really mean much, but it helps. It helps to start clearing that out. Oh, well, you know what? I'm talking about this lane and, you know, talking about what the Dragons can do, but Rafa setting up for a lot of damage as Silver and Thomas Yu fight back. Rockboom just getting some chip damage down.
Yeah, and I kind of like what St. Clair is doing here. They're not actually hard shoving, which is usually what you expect from a Morgana Caitlyn lane. They're setting up for ganks. So now Alonso is deep behind them.
And not just deep behind, but able to find that first flank. But because you do spot Cynical, you aren't going to be able to fight much longer. Rafa having to dance away from that Prey Seeker. And it's going to work into the favor of Rutgers, as Rafa is now extremely low, can barely get out of binding with that mana. Is actually now manaless, and it's drawing down the Azir. Bakery Boy coming down to help zone off Rutgers. Pun though, eating up a lot of that damage in the top lane.
Mid laners are both level 6, so please be quiet. Could be happy with this here. Does have the hero's entrance to assist bot side. Doesn't have to leave. Alonso, can he get in range?
Oh, the buffer with the hook. Silver said, not today. And with that engage, everyone goes back to the happy place. Bakery Boy, a little bit less happy as Cynical's going to chase him through the safe way through the jungle. Oh,
Why
well,
it's wrapping around?
Yeah, I said safe, but looking at the mini-map, it's actually Rutgers that are forcing a pinch onto St. Clair, and this leaves them a little bit exposed. Please be quiet, says, you better be quiet, I found you. Good damage going down as Bakery Boy is going to go in and poke back in their own advantage. These teams are scrapping so heavily right now.
Yeah, for be quiet, like, great, you found him. Did you really want to find him, though? That one's kind of sus here. Thomas has more health here.
Oh, and the binding lands on the cannon minion, and because of that, they're able to turn it. Unfortunately, the kills went to Silver, but it's a 2-for-1, and Rockboom was still able to pick up the 1. Rutgers, they gather 2 in the bot side, not on their primary members, but a nice wave shoved in for Thomas Yu and some experience as well.
So huge play from St. Clair Saints, that whole series of plays here. And part of it coming, huge play for Rutgers, part of it coming from the Saints. Their decision to try and set up a freeze on the bot side to bait out the Kai'Sa Nautilus backfired. As a Caitlyn Morg, when you're hard pushing like that, okay, if things go wrong, at least the wave's in your favor. You can always reset, come back, and you don't miss out too much. But because Rockboom and Rafa held it in there for so long and look for the ganks, when the ganks didn't pan out, Rutgers was winning out in multiple places. We mentioned Quiet in the mid lane getting the advantage, but bot side as well, Thomas able to survive that, come back in, and because Rafa had baited so long with his health bar, they were able to win out the trade. And now the Kai'Sa's accelerated. Remember I said Kai'Sa level 6, that's when they get to turn it around again, and Thomas isn't or he's still not in a great position, but he's not as bad as he was prior to this. And more importantly, Cynical, please be quiet, are going to be able to dogpile down their bot side as well when Kai'Sa does things.
Yeah, it's not a sheer cliff that you're climbing up. It's now just a steep hill. That's all it really is, right? So, hey, we have a little change up, and we see a massive change up for Rutgers as well. Calling the early rotate, being able to pick up that Rift Herald is a huge play for Rutgers, working their advantage of the players. And the question is, can Ricky LaFleur actually catch this? The rotate of the bottom lane into the top side for Rutgers is leaving the spot lane a little bit more exposed. Pun, dodging out on those bindings, is now going to walk forward with that counter-strike. I'm going to block out most of that damage. Dragon, global objectives traded back and forth. But this is now going to leave a 4v1 pun. You don't got counter-strike. You don't got too much.
That's perfect timing.
You got flash. Bakery Boy going to eat a little bit of the damage. And there it is. Alonso picks it up. But because of that, Alonso ate it and is going to be having that unfortunate suicide to the tower. Oh, the sapling betraying Alonso.
The missing things coming down there. I think Alonso didn't realize either. I mean, we saw the kill feed show Alonso getting the kill, but I don't think he realized he was under turret range, so he ended up tanking way longer than he should have. And now, Ricky, in a similar situation, but a 3v1 onto a Mundo is very different from a 4v1 onto a Jax here. Do they actually have enough damage to cut him down? They've only got a couple of seconds. Backup's on its way.
Well, the thing is you actually saw Cynical was too late to actually get there, so they say, hey, we can't even do that. We just got to get the camp. So instead of focusing on the gank, which I do say is the right call, they go for the camp. Because they do so, it is going to be a catch. Cynical is going to get bound up and over the wall to go. They cut away that blast cone and force Cynical to flash straight into the arms of Bakery Boy, who is just going to shove right back. It is a clean and simple play. Surgical removal of Cynical from the jungle.
The Shurima slide there, getting Bakery Boy out of the hero's entrance range. Silver having to run for his life. And Orbital, big picture moment here. Top side, they didn't even get the plate. Ricky LaFleur held so well. And bot side, Rockboom managed to take the entire turret. Great, Rutgers got the Herald, but they haven't been able to use it yet. And St. Clair saying it doesn't matter. Now the question is, where do the rotations go? Rockboom now going up top to match here on to Thomas.
Oh,
and
no.
We've seen what happened in that 2v2. Thomas, is he going to get caught out here?
I think, yeah, you don't really have a
Insta-cleanse.
choice, as this is going to be the Black Shield on. Yes, you get a little bit of a depth charge off, but that means Silver is going to trade their life for Thomas Yu. And the summoner spells were used as well. So massive break in the top side as well for St. Clair. And this is a massive breaking point. Rutgers, they were the first ones to initiate a lane swap, but they're the ones that are getting bitten in the behind for what they've done.
Oh man, they've got to be so careful right now, Rutgers. Even in this. Okay, Rafa?
Well, Cynical was bumped out of the way of the binding, so Rafa's like, bruh, come on, Alonso, we got to talk about this. Get a little bit of synergy between the support and jungle, please.
Yeah, and I think here, Orbitals, where we're starting to see that, Rutgers, the solo queue experience has been good. We've been seeing a lot of their mechanical skills being there here, but the teamwork is showing a little bit of cracks, and we did expect to see that coming in here. The timing from St. Clair has been really, really good. Their rotations mean that they're always where they need to be, and Rutgers feels like they're a second or two behind. That's why they're losing people on some of these plays, and now, again, we're seeing pressure on multiple lanes come through. Ricky is crushing the bot side. And we're 12 minutes. There's still 2 more minutes here. Rockboom might actually be able to take this turret and get full plates on 2 lanes.
That would bring it to a total of 11 plates, if you're able to take that top side as well. Unfortunately, Rockboom says, I don't really want that. We're going to call it out and swap up the lanes once again. And this time, it's Rutgers calling the audible and sending their mid laner top, sending their bot lane into the mid to try and break things out. And it means Silver is caught in the aftermath. Again, a great route and a great lockdown. Silver is allowed to lead because of Thomas Yu. But these rotations are starting to cause some problems. Remember, the more you rotate, the more this can inevitably happen. Another twisted advance means Silver is going to eat the entangled overgrowth, and Alonso brings out an assist for Bakery Boy.
I feel so bad for Silver there. Like, St. Clair didn't have to commit that many resources. They're going to lose 2 plates for that here. But yeah, they really wanted to remove that Nautilus off the map. And Silver hasn't been able to play the game recently, ever since that topside death.
And you can see it there in the gold, right? These lane swaps that, again, and I have to emphasize this, it was initiated by Rutgers. They were the first ones to pick up the Rift Herald early on and were the first ones to rotate, their bot lane into the top. They were the ones that called for this, and yet the gold has been a devastating 4.1, and it's continuing. The siege from St. Clair is working to perfection.
Yeah, and you can see every single time, they're just sending people up here to try and punish. Please be quiet, moving up. Has to be careful. TPs have to be called in to try and save them.
Oh, and look at that out by Alonso, using that minion to sweep out with the twisted advance, and then abiding on the back end to slow down Silver with a Piltover Peacemaker from Rockboom, sliding Please Be Quiet out of lane. The force rotations are constantly working in favor of St. Clair. Again and again, they're losing out on CS, but Pun tries to actually get a double up on the Counter-Strike and is able to break 2. Well, guess what? Rutgers say, hey, you gave us an opportunity, and we're going to make it a triple of all the players that have it on. Pun says, give me those carry kills.
We said that for Rutgers to win this, they needed to break the top lane here. It might not be Ricky they broke, but Pun is now incredibly ahead. Triple kill on this hyper-scaling Jax. Rutgers' secondary win con is online. Now, what else can you find? We are past the 14-minute marks. No plates on that top side. Here's TPs were burnt to get up there, and it looks like St. Clair is looking for the dragon.
Well, Bakery Boy also went in a little bit of an awkward scenario, but is able to get the shuffle out. Emperor's Divide is fine over the wall. Now Rick LaFleur getting in front here at the dragon, though. Please be quiet. Walking forward a little bit longer. In comes Ace the Hole, and it slides by and actually hits Cynical. That means the jungler has to retreat on a dragon. That is so important. Everyone from Rutgers, after initiating that fight, are gonna leave Please Be Quiet to be taken quite low. In goes Please Be Quiet, and that's gonna be attacked back. Thomas Yu kiting back perfectly. Rafa went in, not able to get too much more. They're all super low, and it's gonna be the cleanup. Double kill for the Morgana, just as Pun got a triple. The firing back of the triple from Rockboom. Boom goes the Dynamite, and Dragon second to their name.
We said it before, watch out St. Clair's bot lane here. They are massive carries, and Rockboom has been showing that from laning into the team fight as well. For a second, it looked like Rutgers was going to win it. Pun, finding his way into the back line absolutely just looked like he was going to pop off. He found Rockboom, but just all the CC that came down, and because Rutgers had taken too much poke prior to that there, sure, they got the first kill of the fight on Ricky, but it didn't matter. Ricky had gotten almost all their health bars out. And now that second dragon going to St. Clair, they could actually probably just go for Herald at the same time. They're looking to reset here. So there is a small window. Rutgers could look to try and burn out that Herald. And I think they have enough damage.
I think they have plenty of damage. The question is, do they have the motivation to go for it? Because with that dragon going down, St. Clair can actually match at this point. You see Silver and Cynical clearing out all these wards. The Christmas tree of red wards is causing them to slow down, and because of that, they're not going to be able to go for that Herald as quickly as we imagined. So St. Clair doing well to now control that pacing of the global objectives. And we're going to see it happen time and time again. Alonso now on the top side, saying not a chance. Rockboom actually opting for the Runaan's Hurricane as well. A little bit different in the itemization here.
Yeah, I mean, Rockboom right now has enough range that she's going to be hitting everybody. We said before, Rutgers is pretty low range. So everybody's going to be roughly where that Hurricane bonus is going to be able to hit them. Now, Rutgers opting to do this. You had a window of opportunity. Now it's a little bit too late. And it's a Hextech map as well. So the gates are active. You've got to be quick on here. And we said before, St. Clair's composition, if they get to an objective first, they can really block you out. And we're seeing that happen right now. Binding after binding, just connecting. And with the Maokai saplings, St. Clair always have full vision. Now that they're established, Rutgers kind of just has to give this up.
And this is where the composition from St. Clair is like, we follow the meta of League of Legends, right? This is where their entire composition just says, screw the opponent. There is no chance for Rutgers to really do anything. The only one that we're actually going to see is this bot side, and Pump, even with 3, is going to eat so much damage. Now a depth charge in the back line. Rockboom is actually going to get caught out, and Kaisa is going to pick up that kill. It's traded back in spades, though, as St. Clair are going to break 2 of their own. But it's a chase out as Rafa is currently running for their life. Flashes over the wall, gets the safety, and Cynical is going to walk straight into Alonso. But guess what? It happens again! That's twice! Rafa's like, bro, you can't keep blocking me like this. Why?
They're going to have words.
Oh, it's definitely words, and the Emperor said, I get the last word. It's going to be a little bit of a shuffle back towards open space, but the slow and knockup are way more than they needed. Pun fell to Ricky Lafleur, and that means this inhibitor tower falls as well. So as much as the fighting goes on, Ricky Lafleur is just like, I made a magic trick happen, guys. You lost 2 towers, and bot lane inhibitor is open.
Yeah, he's making turrets vanish down there right now. And here's the other problem, bro. Who's smashing Ricky right now? We just saw Ricky manhandle Pun in the 1v1 under, or pardon me, not under, behind the turret here. And Pun's the big, scary carry for Rutgers. So if anything, if Ricky starts showing up to these fights, I don't know if Rutgers can actually win the 5v5s or even approach any of these 5v5s here. And on the other side of the map, yeah, sure, the synergy between Alonso and Rafa, not 100%, but Bakery Boy's making it work as well, cleaning up quietly. We haven't mentioned too much about Bakery Boy, but he's quietly become now 4-0-5, 2 completed items here. And he's going to be a big part of these future fights. That Emperor's Divide is largely going to determine whether Rutgers even finds any kills in the upcoming objective fights.
And to say that is the turning point is so scary, because at this point Rutgers are feeling the weight of the short range composition, right? They have to be feeling this weight of, we can't really do anything. Everything feels like a desperation play if we try and go in, right? If we get a Glacial Prison from Cynical. To dive forward and be willing to throw your bodies in means that you are also gambling away the lives of at least 2 to 3 of your teammates as well. So this is going to cause some problems. And now Pun dancing around this dragon eats so much damage just from Bakery Boy. I want to point that out. That was not even a full stab of 3 soldiers. It was 1 soldier that cut Pun down to about 60% HP.
Yeah, that and the Morgana. And I want to highlight Rafa did not go for support mythic. Went for the Leandry. So that was double Leandry's burn ticking down. You pick that when you know you're going to be safe, when you know your AD carry doesn't really need any more support here. All you need is just more damage, more zone control. And unfortunately for Rutgers, you're right. Mostly it's everything. Any play they make is going to kind of feel desperate because they are quite deep in the hole here. They're almost 10k down before Baron's being taken.
Oh, well, and they might be more as they chose to bring a fight, and this is their composition's weak point. Yeah. They go in and they can't go out. The fight breaks out whether they like it or not, and Pun is able to make it to the back line. But guess what? They are able to find Caitlyn, but they found no one else. Please be quiet is being silenced here as he dashes away to safety. Bakery Boy says, get back here. I'm baking up an ace. That is going to be all 5-10 at 20 minutes here. We get the Rift Herald to dance their way to glory. And this is St. Clair saying game number 1's doors are being closed.
mean, technically, Rutgers can defend this. Their death times are fairly short. We're only at 20 minutes here. So Silver, Cinco back up. Thomas is coming up as well here. I don't know if we get a dancing shell. If they can find kills here, maybe.
I think they do. I mean, listen, this is dominated. Oh, well, Rafa said we're out. Rafa said we're out. We get that last kill, and I think they could have done it, right? Like, just how strong they are. They were having some fun, but they said we'll take the smart way out. We're going to go ahead, get this third dragon on our own. It just spawned. The Hex Tech is feeling good, and we'll give ourselves that extra boost of confidence. Once again, go for the dragon. Baron's up as well. And we took only one inhibitor. They didn't get the bottom inhibitor, by the way. They hit it like twice and then backed off.
Yeah, the problem is Bakery Boy didn't run Nashers too. This is the more poke-oriented Azir build here. So you don't actually have anybody who can take structures that quickly. And Rock Boom went down. So they probably made the right call, backing out the safer call. They don't want to give any of the bounties over. Right now, this beautiful 600 gold bounty on Bakery Boy. Rafa has a 400 gold bounty as a support player on this team right now. So yeah, you don't want to be giving that over. That is a way for Rutgers to get back in. And for Rutgers, where do you look for? We said secondary win con was split pushing. Well, Pun's down 2 levels now on Ricky LaFleur. And Ricky has 3 completed items as well. A full complete item over Pun. So you're just kind of stalling out and praying that you can do something. Maybe a mistake coming through from St. Clair. Because barring that right now, with a 10k gold lead, St. Clair just play it safe. They're going to be fine. They can just set up for Baron right now. And Rutgers can't really do anything, despite Baron often being the best place to try and coin flip.
I mean, I don't think they're going to push any further out than just their their original inhibitors either, right? Like, we're saying, hey, they're going to play safe. I'm saying they're going to play super safe, right? They're not even going to try and poke their head out to take a pick, because right now we're seeing Pun. Like, Pun's poking their head out enough. And look at that. It's peanuts. Ricky LaFleur is like, bruh, just leave, right? We do see... Well, actually, they are going to push out, so they are absolutely challenging me here. Cynical tried to throw the Glacial Prism, but missed. And that means please be quiet. It's shoved straight into the fray. Rock Boom with that cut is destroying HP bars right now.
Thomas almost died trying to approach the Baron pit there. I'm assuming he just walked through a minefield of sapling. Silver... Goodbye. Actually, they might just let Silver live. It really doesn't matter. I mean, the turrets are there. They really want Thomas instead. Yeah,
that's going to be a flash to Soldier to kill. This is the cleanup right now as St. Clair Saints no longer, as they absolutely brutalize this game. And I mean, Rutgers, they fought as hard as they could. Solo queue in the early game looked pretty good, but again, this mid to late game powerhouse of St. Clair is starting to show through. Coordination, macro game calls led to them getting so much to take game number 1.
1-0 to start things off. Unfortunately, for Rutgers, this is not the game they were looking for. They've got to fix things between these 2 games here, bro. And when I had spoken, to their manager, Banana Kit Kats, they had mentioned that, yeah, they understand that one of their issues right now is communications, because it is a fairly new roster. The other one is drafting. And unfortunately, in this game, I think a lot of it did come down to the draft. Their composition had to get ahead early. It's kind of risky that way. And if you don't, then it all kind of falls behind. And you're trying to get ahead against the Caitlyn Morgana lane as well. So really, really difficult to play. And for St. Clair Saints, that's the reason why we brought up their coach, Coach Lair, doing a really good job with this particular draft here. Now, the problem with draft differences is it's not easy to fix, Orbital. On one hand, yes, you can fix it between games, but on the other hand, it's not like you can just say, oh, we'll remove one component and everything falls apart here, right? If you remove the Caitlyn, there are other picks that can do similar things to come through. All they needed was just an early bot side control here. Hence, I guess why we saw the Tristana ban come through. So Rutgers needs to figure out how can they draft in such a way that they don't end up picking an engaged composition into something with so much zone control here? Or what can they pick that they don't give away their game plan so early?
I mean, the game plan, at this point, it feels like St. Clair may have stolen the playbook and run away with it to study up over the night, but we'll see if they got something else penned in there to go ahead and give them an advantage. Rutgers Black going to give it their best shot here in game number 2. St. Clair Saints going to be looking to lock out another 2-0. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
is snow there, it is cold there, but I am safe and I am warm. Although it's hard, I know I gotta keep up, no time to lay, to drift away. I find my space, I spend my time down the rabbit hole again, and as I fall I can feel the pain. You can't tell me where to go, so I don't know, I just go with the flow. I go with the flow. I'm falling up, I'm falling down, from the sky and from the ground. Up above just like below, and I don't know where I should go. 'Cause I'm stuck in limbo. I'm out of love, but I guess I deserved it. Trying to hide, to pass you by. I'm getting down, feeling fine. I'm light as air, no one can reach me. Lost in a dream, lost in between. Let's keep on flying, let's keep on breathing. I'm falling up, I'm falling down, from the sky and from the ground. Up above just like below, and I don't know where I should go. 'Cause I'm stuck in limbo. Cause I'm stuck in limbo. Cause I'm stuck in limbo.
Living in the same routine, like the seasons I'm on repeat. It's a long way down. Trying not to follow suit. Don't like the color, I'll change the shade of it. I'm not afraid of it. I know I'm holding on to this, holding on. I know I'm holding on to this, holding on. Don't let me repeat it. Don't let me repeat it. Times have changed, but so can you. So can you. For too long about the mistakes. While I resent, I learned to hate. Forgot your names. Fear the struggle to follow on. Need to focus to prove you're wrong. I'm not wrong. I know I'm holding on to this. Holding on. I know I'm, oh, I know I'm holding on to this. Holding on. Don't let me repeat it. Don't let me repeat it.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here for game number 2 between St. Clair Saints and Rutgers Varsity Black. Game number 1, we saw St. Clair Saints come out with a powerhouse of a meta composition. It was the Caitlyn. It was just all around beefiness with the Mundo in the top lane, the Maokai in the jungle. It was as standard gets. And for Rutgers Varsity Black, played a little bit of a teamfight composition, not allowed to play their game. And going into game number 2, a lot of question marks left on the ground about the compositional differences and if Rutgers is able to bring anything else differently out.
Yeah, and in game 1, Rutgers was on the blue side here. So it felt like St. Clair Saints really took advantage of the strength of the red side in draft. They got counters in almost every single position here. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they just had the advantage from start to finish by being able to read that. Now, going into game 2, Rutgers Varsity Black has opted to take the red side this game. So they actually get to react to whatever St. Clair Saints pull out here this time. Now, of course, picks like Caitlyn and Azir, I feel like they're fairly blindable for the most part. So it's the top lane I'm looking at here. Pun Pun, that big carry who had his pop-off moment, the triple kill for Rutgers Black here. I want to see Pun Pun get counter-picked this time and see what he can do with that.
Yeah, and just like my green screen changing things up on me, we want to see Rutgers be able to change things up on their own side. And as you said, see Pun Pun be able to break out a little bit more. And at the same time, we also did see a little bit of a flare from Thomas Hugh, right? Around that mid-game period as well, we did see the Kaisa bring a little bit to the table as well. There was a possibility of a little bit extra, but we need to see it earlier, right? We need to see these two pop off a little bit earlier, not so much in the later. We need to see them make opportunities for themselves instead of waiting for St. Clair to do it for them. That's kind of at least where I was leaning towards, because I mean, St. Clair, after those early fights, really did engage hard. They said, hey, we know where we want to rotate to, rotating at the top lane, getting a 4-man gang, rotating bot lane, actually answering Rutgers at that time and pulling those ganks off. So going into draft here, we get to see what they want to do. Again, St. Clair on the blue side, and of course Rutgers on that red.
Yeah, so far, in terms of bans here, no big changes from either team, which does surprise me a little bit. I was wondering if Rutgers would throw out the Caitlyn ban, because it didn't feel like, you know, they had an answer to Caitlyn in that draft, really. Granted, the Caitlyn was counterpicking the Kaisa here, but going into game 2, you know, they've opted to leave it open, and there is still that Jhin potentially to pick up for Thomas. It's his most played champion here, and it looks like it actually wasn't banned by St. Clair Saints.
Yep, just going ahead, leaving it open, but here comes the big change, right? We did see a little bit of a challenge going in there, and it's the Camille into that Scion, and I'm very, very curious to see if that one's going to play out. Another big change, of course, for Rutgers is seeing that Hecarim come out a little bit more aggressive in the engage toolbox, and I do like to see it. But for St. Clair's, challenging it right back, the Hecarim was actually picked up R2. It is the Graves in that B3 position saying, all right, you're going to bring the Hecarim, I'm going to bring the Hunter.
And I'm actually really happy with this Graves pickup for Alonso, because up to now, Alonso, we mentioned, plays Nunu, Graves, and solo queue, you know, more early game oriented champions. In NECC, this is his first carry jungler he's picking up. He's played, you know, Diana, Sejuani, Nocturne. Granted, Nocturne and Diana are kind of carries, but they're later game carries, mid game carries. They don't have that early game impact that Graves can have here. So to me now, with that Graves pickup for Alonso, my eyes are on Alonso to pop off here. We've seen your other teammates pop off. Bakery Boy and Rockboom had an epic game last game. You know, Ricky Lafleur doing his own thing in his own lane, winning all the 1v1s. Now, Alonso, it's your turn. Shut your stuff.
Go ahead, strut your stuff, and we could even say that towards the mid lane, because I want to get to the bot lane. That's where we see Thomas Yu picking up a little bit of a counter to the Caitlyn, which, you know, has its own feats. But mid lane is where we're seeing a massive 180 right now. Please be quiet last time was on that Galio, was saying, hey, play for the team a bit more. Breaking out the Akali, and this is against a blind pick Azir, saying, I want to fight. I want to break it out. I mean, this is what we're going to highlight here, because I think this shifts the focus for Rutgers a bit.
For sure. And for Please Be Quiet, when you pick an Akali, not only are you saying that, oh, I've got the hands to play this champion, but you're picking to Azir no less. Now, the Azir Akali matchup is kind of interesting because it does favor Azir in lane. He does outrange you. He gets the poke off on you here. And when Akali tries to engage on him, he has the Emperor's Divide to just kind of back off the Shurima slide to get out to safety as well. So technically, Azir has all the tools he needs in lane. Where Akali really starts to shine is when we get into anything more than the 1v1, the 2v2s, the 5v5s here. Then it gets down to how creative can you be with Akali here, because you're not hunting the Azir anymore. There's a Lux, there's a Caitlyn. They're kind of squishy. Graves can be kind of squishy too, especially near the beginning of fights before he stacks up all that true grit armor. Yeah, so Please Be Quiet really stepping up and saying, okay, I can be the carry here. And suddenly this composition coming through from Rutgers as well. There's no real sort of supportive character here. You've got Silver on Seraphine, and that's about it. Everybody else wants to, you know, have their pop-off moments, wants to be the carry of the team. You now have counterpick in all three lanes. Jhin, as we mentioned, kind of one of the answers to Kate that can match her in lane with range, with farming. Outrange her actually with that ultimate as well to engage. You've got the Camille counterpicked into Sion, who, you know, will be able to handle him, especially once you start picking up your first mythic. And now in the lane, the Akali to potentially outplay the Azir here. So Rutgers have all the tools they need this time. The problem is, can they execute?
Yeah, it's a lot more dynamic, a lot more enabling to those side lanes if they so wish. Or not side lanes, but the opportunities from the other sides of the map. Remember, a Galio can only enter one way, and it's literally where one of the teammates is. That's at least how I feel it is. But looking towards that early game, which is where we saw some of those issues of Rutgers kind of flare up, right? We saw the rotations. We saw they had the glimmers of hope, right? The call to rotate up for that early Herald. It cost them a little bit. It forced St. Clair to also rotate, and then it was Rutgers that was falling behind, right? Oh, we're the ones not rotating fast enough. We aren't matching that gank. Do we see that change here? And if we do, is Cynical gonna have enough? With this Hecarim, I mean, it's also a farm to 6 champion, but are we going to see that shakeup happen so early on as we saw in game number 1?
Well, so here's the thing, Orbital. You're saying about how, you know, Rutgers fell behind early and St. Clair took over and just never let up the gas. That's kind of likely to happen this game too. When we look at how the lanes go, sure, they got counterpick, but Camille really starts to pop off after she gets her first mythic into Sion. Prior to that, Sion is disgusting to deal with. Really, most tanks have really high base stats, right? He's kind of like Ornn that way in that matchup. So he should enjoy that matchup early, get early prio as well. Graves into Hecarim. Graves wins that handily. We've seen, you know, at Worlds, for example, every time Graves shows up, ton of kills left and right here in the early game. A lot of upfront burst. We touched on the Azir Akali lane. Again, Azir favored. Bot side, Caitlyn Lux is a little bit favored still into Jhin Seraphine. Jhin isn't exactly a counter. He's sort of something that can match the Caitlyn. That one becomes more of a skill matchup. So the early game favors the Saints, and the Saints need to take advantage of that. If they can get rolling, then yeah, I think we see a repeat of game 1. Their overall composition is still really, really strong as well. This time more pick oriented. If Lux finds a pick, they find a kill. So for Rutgers, they kind of need to make sure they don't fall behind in the early game. And then after that, you know, once you hit the mid game 15-minute mark here, their comp really starts to come online and they'll have a lot more answers. And if they can reach that point without falling behind more than 1,000 gold overall, that's what I want to see for a very close competitive series.
All right, well, there you go. Some thoughts moving into this game. Number 2, Rutgers, don't fall behind. Don't let 1,000 gold get out of your grasp. For St. Clair, just keep doing what you're doing, right? Just keep doing what you're doing and have a blast here. A couple different champions, a little bit of a shakeup, but all around the same style that we're hoping to see. Another game on the Caitlyn that had a massive, massive turnout, and I want to go back and Take a look here. I don't think we had the score from last time, and because my little small caster brain does not remember what the score was, all I'm going to say is that Caitlyn was an absolute menace. Right now, though, we are seeing 0 invades and 0 even chances of an invade as St. Clair are drawing the battle lines with Rutgers answering suit.
Sure about the invades there,
Well,
Orbital? We're seeing Rockboom and Rapid push up.
That's not an invade. That's testing the waters. I hard declare that is just see even the emotes know it was just testing the waters.
I feel like that's when a doctor's going to take like a biopsy sample and be like, oh, this is non-invasive. It's just a poke. We're just going to remove a small chunk here. I was going to say, actually, Lux ain't bad on the invade here if she can find a catch. So I appreciate they kind of went for that. But you're right. No hard commit coming through from the Saints. And frankly, I don't think either of the teams really feel like they need to commit to a level 1 coin flip here. They can just kind of play it out. Saints have that early game, so they want to make sure they get to lane to be able to control how the lanes pan out. And for Rutgers, we mentioned, they're scaling. Their level 1 ain't that good.
Yeah, it's also, we're talking about the Lux. You also don't want to invade into a Scion. The number of highlight clips you will get, or fail clips, depending on which side of the map you're on, you get walking into a Scion who fully charges a Q and annihilates your team is painful, to say the least, right? Like, I would not want to. So seeing the battle lines drawn and seeing that Scion in the top side, a little bit of a breath of fresh air as everyone goes back to standard lanes. Difference being is Rafa actually going that early sweepers, saying, hey, Silver and Thomas, you're not going to have a lot of freedom as we get a bit of a problem here. Ricky LaFleur, yep, that's an unfortunate spot to be in.
Oh, okay, Ricky, don't be a man. Like, fun disconnected. Let him at least like go back to safety here. But sure, let's go back to that bot side, the sweeper that you mentioned, Orbital, because you're right. It is unusual to see the supports pick up sweepers this early. Generally, when we do see the sweeper picked up, it's because you want to take control of that lane. You want to gain control of those bushes here. And the flip side of that is that you're not going to have as good warding vision for ganks, so you want to make sure that you're covered at the appropriate times by your junglers here. So a bit of a higher risk for the Saints playing it that way, but if it pans out, that's one way to make sure that your Caitlyn Lux stays ahead of that gen.
Yeah, just make sure that you are constantly in control, and we can see it here as, of course, we do see that massive CS lead for the time being. Rockboom just going, hey, I'm perfectly fine, and also went the longsword in 3 pots, which just screams aggressive, right? Rockboom is going to lay down the trap, get a headshot, and Silver goes, I'm not as tanky as before, guys. Can you lay off of the trap combination, please?
No, you can't.
No, yeah.
The reason why you picked it.
Oh my gosh, they're still going. This is getting out of hand here. Silver has chugged every single potion imaginable and is only level 2. This is it's a scary time to be a Seraphine. The flash forward, and this is getting so rude. And now Thomas, one more auto attack. Couldn't even get a summoner spell off. Silver was allowed to get both summoner spells off. Thomas, unfortunately, was not.
So here's the thing with Thomas. Thomas actually was being good guy Thomas. He saved Silver quite a lot by playing so aggressively. Every time the binding landed, he just went up and started getting all up in Rockboom's and Rafa's face. Great idea. Right up to Moon, you're the one eating the binding. And suddenly Silver's too low to be good guy Silver. So unfortunately for Thomas, wasn't reciprocated. And we saw like a 10-2 CS advantage for Rockboom. There were 7 minions pushing in. Thomas now gets none of that. So that 19-5 is accurate. It's not like there's a massive wave coming in that Thomas is going to be able to farm either.
And remember, that also screams CS differential. Oh, Alonso. Oh, this is gonna be a punish. Flash away from that stun, and Alonso is dashing over the wall. Cynical's not done yet. Cynical's like, bro, you steal that, and we get the kill back. Silver came in for the support and got a bit more than just support. Cynical running Alonso out of that river.
And not only that, it actually really messed up this bot lane, unfortunately. Actually, it doesn't matter. They kill Thomas anyways?
You know what? You said it messed up, but the flash forward is done. You thought it was messing up, and you thought, RMC, a kill gracefully granted to Rafa, as Rafa is now the carry.
All 3 kills are on this Lux right here, and Lux can carry. I want to see a mid. Dark Steel picked up. I respect you, Rafa.
Yes.
Good pickup. So, why I said they messed it up was because there was actually a disconnect there. Alonso getting hunted down, Rock Boom continued to channel his recall. I'll hold up because Ricky might find the solo here.
Yeah, and this might lend itself to the fact that Pun Pun already tried to recall back, but now we get the slam flash away as that's going to be a follow-up with the E. Ricky LaFleur, though, dancing just outside of range, and Alonso is going to get one more Q off. Ricky LaFleur playing the toe-tapping game and gets an assist for the troubles. Alonso back in the game.
Five hit brain play from Ricky there, flashing to make Pun Pun hesitate.
Oh my gosh.
No, this time, no. They're not going there. Surely not. Okay. I want to finish my point about the bot side because Rock actually canceled his recall where he was going to pick up a buy. And he canceled it too late. So he neither saved Alonso nor did he go back. And so he ended up starting that fight half health. So I was like, oh, surely he's dead here, right? He's starting half health. No, because Rafa is an absolute beast. And the bindings were on point. Caught both of them with the bindings there. And that let them turn the tides. Now, St. Clair Saints, remember how I said 1K at 15 minutes, Orbital? We're 5.5 minutes in. We're looking at 2K, buddy.
And all that 2K is on the most unassuming member of the team, Rafa, with the no, absolutely not 2K, but at least 800 to 1,000, right? 3 kills equates to a massive CS differential, and that is, or a massive goal differential, I should say, not CS differential. It's scary, right? Already understanding that you were going to get extra kills, it was gonna be a very kill-focused bot lane. You pick that up after the first kill with your first blood gold. It wasn't even afterwards, right? It's not even, oh, I got 3 kills, I can go for it. It was, we know we're gonna fight, we know we're gonna break forward, and we're gonna look for a bit more. Silver dancing for their life right now in this bot lane, as Rockboom does a sneaky shot, can't get the last auto attack off, so Silver is allowed to live. Another binding goes a little bit wide as Thomas Yu is trying to fight for their own life once again.
Well, you called Rafa 20 unassuming, and he took offense with that. Does
really
that look
did.
unassuming?
He
to you?
really
Yeah, pressuring
did.
this. Look at the dive
Oh my
here.
gosh. Alonso trying to throw out the collateral damage and now calling down Cynical. Gets over the wall but brings Cynical with them. So now they're a little bit in danger. Please be quiet. Teleported down to the spot side, leaving the Azir alone. And now a teleport in from Ricky LaFleur a little bit too safe, I would say, but because now that they have a Scion, they're going to try and fight on their own. In comes a Scion! Power move, behold! Into the trap, into the binding again! Over the top, it's going to be a headshot to bring it in, and the rest of the team is here. Is this going to be a clear St. Clair Saints saying, give me that chance? Cynical said, do not stack that Dark Seal. Do not take that chance. Please be quiet is going to finish off a 1. The shuffle, the Emperor's Divide, brings them out into kill territory, as Alonso is going to finish off one more. With the fight going on so long, it's multiple members coming back alive, but with how much of a fight went down, it is a 4-kill slaughter to St. Clair.
No, before we went live, Orbital, I tweeted that tonight was the rivers were gonna run red because you said gods can bleed, and I was told legends never die. So, yeah, no joke, man. 11 kills before 8 minutes here between these two teams. The bot lane right now is stained red. I am so sad that Rafa died there and lost his stacks, but Rafa, he's feeling himself.
I know Rafa wants to, but Pumpon has also had a little bit of time to see us back up. Does have a Sheen, and we know how scary we know how scary a Camille can be, right? Against something like a squishy support. So maybe don't want to test it too hard. But this is going to leave Rockboom a little bit alone, and I'm surprised that W actually missed. That looked like it hit on target, and Rockboom was just like, I'll walk forward a couple steps. The pixels don't matter.
just the angle there. The 90 caliber net actually got him out of range. Now, Orwell, you said Pun Pun's scary. I'm just saying, he backed away from Rafa, man. That's all I'm saying. Results-based analysis, never wrong, right? Yeah. Rafa got to be the scariest guy in the rift right now.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, he's no longer the highest kills, though. Alonso managed to pick up 3 kills. And we said before, Graves really scary early on. This Graves has been accelerated. Umbral Glaive is one of the strongest early game pickups you can get. Now you deny vision further, and you get lethality here. Watch for Alonso to continue ganking. Top side right now, Pun Pun kind of low. That's looking kind of juicy.
Yeah, and I mean, Ricky LaFleur is nigh full health, so skipping over just about everything and saying, hey, we're going to fight this. In the meantime, Rafa's saying, hey, we're going to make a play on the top side. So let's go ahead and do it on the bot side. And the bot side makes it happen so much faster. They do 90 caliber net in, and that means Cynical is going to try and break in this fight. Of course, this does mean it's a 2v1 to an extent. In goes the laser, does a miss on Cynical, but it might have done enough. Rockboom is very, very much full health. Does have the ace in the hole, needs one more auto attack, or might not. And there it is, the snipe to put down the horse. It is a powerful move for Rockboom, who is now 3-1-5 on their own.
Meanwhile, Ricky LaFleur, it might not be Mundo, but he's doing the exact same thing. He's farming behind turrets right now, and Punpun just lost half his health bar. Alonso's in the area. I am actually very surprised Alonso is not diving this. I feel like it's... If I was Alonso, I would not have the temperance, the patience to not pull the trigger right here. Speaking of pulling the trigger, please be quiet. Is he going to face check?
I don't think so just yet. Was able to walk around the far side, and they do get the catch.
Cancel.
Ricky LaFleur, though, is only going to fall down to Cynical as Alonso is fighting
Alonso.
2v1 and gets over the wall into the red buff pit. And
winning
guess
it.
who's here to help? Pun realizes this is in a dangerous spot. Hextech Ultimatum does next to nothing as the killer straight up back. Please be quiet. Silences Ricky LaFleur in that top jungle. But it's still a push in the mid lane for St. Clair.
Bot side as well. Rockboom being shoved in should be able to farm this perfectly fine. Ricky bought so much time, and look where Rafa is. Rafa ain't done yet.
That's slow, and then the ignite means please be quiet is in a dangerous spot. The last tick of the ignite takes it down, and Rafa sends it again. The Dark Steel shall not be stacked as Pun teleports in the mid lane, and it's a mad scramble, RMC. It is a mad scramble for kills. It's a mad scramble for the team. It's a mad scramble for everything. Shut down to Cynical.
Okay, maybe now we get to catch our little breaths a little bit.
Nope, not at all.
Because
I 100%
it's just
don't
been
think so.
going nonstop. I mean, there's enough corpses, I think, that St. Clair can't spark anything here, so we should have a moment. And what I want to highlight is that actually Rutgers, oddly enough, they're winning their fights on the bot side of the map. So, or at least that last fight here. And part of that's because of the Jhin range that you have with that curtain call. So I feel like Rutgers needs to start playing for this bot side rather from that top side. Unfortunately, Pun just burnt TP, so won't have that available. But I would still like to see them continue punishing. Rockboom and Rafa have not been the greatest playing defensively. That early sweepers means that they never quite see Cynical coming whenever he's looking for these ganks.
And because of that, they get a third one off. In the span of about 2 minutes here, Cynical running down Rafa saying, listen, we know what you want to do, but we know how to aggress on our own. Alonso now coming in a little bit late as a heal comes out from Silver just to get the speed up. They are going to survive, so it's only Rafa to go down, and you know what? Rutgers will call that a win.
Yeah, well, partial win because they're about to lose the bot side turret. Rockboom just needs a couple more autos to be able to take this one. Seeing a bit of a trade in the mid lane here between Please Be Quiet and Bakery Boy. But with that crown, it's so difficult for Please Be Quiet to really win out these trades in lane here.
Tower does go down, and Cynical says, hey, I want to break out the fight right now. It does leave Rockboom a little bit alone, and Thomas Yu flashes forward only to get an assist for Silver to pick up the kill. Another charge off the Herald, though, so a lot of value gotten from that first Rift Herald, as Rutgers are just playing for gold.
Yeah, the game a lot sloppier from the Saints this round here, but they are still finding their leads. Last time we checked in at, was it 8 minutes, 7 minutes? Or 5 minutes actually, they were up 2k. We're now at 12, they're up 4k here. So they are still growing their leads, albeit much slower here. And not only did they get the turret, they're going to fall back and grab the dragon for themselves as well. 13 minutes, kind of slow for first drag, but the Saints don't care about stacking the dragon so much as they care about just speeding the game up as a whole. And now that the Caitlyn's been unlocked, Demolition Machine can just go to the mid lane instead, start punishing that as well.
And the rotations of that Caitlyn are going to be very telling. As you said, moving towards that mid lane, if they get it into a good spot, it's going to be very happy as Rafa is even trying to dance away this red buff. Cynical's like, bruh, really? Really, you tried to take my red buff? And for themselves, I mean, Cynical is 5-2-3, a very respectable score moving in here, right? And as you said, very bloody at the beginning. I feel like Rutgers are taking that in stride and saying, well, we knew it was going to be bloody, so let's play it up even more so. 12-9 is the current score at 13.5 minutes. I think it's working for them, again, playing a bit more towards that solo queue, get the kills, and get the win afterwards.
Yeah, so if you're just trading 1-for-1 here, whichever team scales is going to be happier with that trade. And we touched on the fact that Rutgers, you know, they're looking to get to the mid game fairly even. So they're happy with these trades for now. The problem is all the other things they're losing as well. Now mid, again, I love this from Rutgers. We said, identify the Caitlyn Lux. They're vulnerable. They tend to overextend here. And Cynical has been going on repeat to that lane. 6-2-3. I suspect most of that has been coming from Rockboom and Rafa.
Yeah, this is, at this point, it's another camp to farm, is the way to really see it. Cynical is kind of just focusing on that Caitlyn. Alonso now off on the side, though, finds Please Be Quiet and is able to dash away from that stun. 3 in the mid lane for St. Clair as the bloody battle still continues. This mid lane tower refuses to fall, and Bakery Boy is trying to clear a pink ward and now gets themselves into a bit of a sticky situation. Please be quiet. Burns that perfect execution. Was looking for a bit more. Dives in on Rock Boom. Immediately flips back out. Wasn't able to pull any extra summoner spells out.
Yeah, but well, fast fingers from Please Be Quiet to not get caught with that kind of overextended dive there. But it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things here. Can they actually?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter either way. The HP bars are so low. You can take a look on the right side of your screen, but it doesn't matter as top lane Pun Pun and Ricky LaFleur are dancing it out. But look at that damage. The Scion just chopping away at the Camille. Scissor Legs versus an Axe. Apparently the Axe does win. Mid lane, we're now seeing Cynical set up for the rest of the team. But that top lane 1v1 spells disaster for Rutgers.
Yeah, and that's partially just the item gap that we're seeing a little bit from Ricky as well. Level difference. And I want to highlight something because I just noticed it. Boots of Swiftness on this Scion. That is highly unusual. Usually, you know, we see the armor boots come through. None of that for Ricky here. And that does mean he's vulnerable. He can be killed. He's not as tanky as he looks.
I mean, he did this on the Mundo as well, which Mundo is a little bit more understandable, right? You already have that CC break, so you're fine. But I agree, it's dangerous. And at this point, we're just not even worried about Rock Boom because Rock Boom is going to get kills wherever Rock Boom goes. It's a standard part of this game now. Rafa, though, getting jumped on once again, and Pun Pun realizes that Alonso is inside the jungle with them. But a flash forward with the Encore is going to catch members alone. And Alonso said, no, you don't get the Encore. I do. Ricky LaFleur is going to fall. And that means it's a death state for them. But look at that gold grab with all the fighting. 27 kills in 16 minutes. It's only led to St. Clair building that mountain of gold over and over again.
Okay, 15-minute mark check. We're 16 minutes in overall. Gold lead, 8K. 8K. I had asked for Rutgers to be within 1K. This is looking kind of dire. And we just saw that too. The fact that Rick LaFleur 3 consecutive fights and it took 3 to kill him. Now, Rafa, a little bit squishier. I'm over the Dark Seal. You can sell it at this point. It's not working. Please be quiet. Looking to try and equalize things here. Should be able to find this.
Yeah, very, very nice execution, but you got the smite down. You're going to live for a little bit longer, and it was enough time. Alonso with the mechanics of a god right there, using the smite to heal up, and then the camp on top of it. Please be quiet. Expended a lot. That was a flash into the Proto Belt, into so much more. And that calls for a fight to break out around this Rift Herald. Cynical gonna come around the backside, found Rock Boom, and gonna find a bit more. But no one was able to follow up, and Cynical is now gonna get caught. But Pun Pun says, break into the backline. All we want. Let's get some more kills. Please be quiet. Came back in with the Shuriken flip. Is gonna find those kills. Yes, you trade it back. It's a 2 for 2. But please be quiet. And Thomas, you want a bit more action. Rick LaFleur has no way to slow them down, has no ultimate behind, but the laser does enough as Bakery Boy says, I can go over the wall as well. It was looking good for Rutgers, but it's not going to be enough. The gold lead is just too much. Thomas Yu picks up a free kill, and it turns right back on its head. Thomas Yu, and please be quiet, still dancing as the teams are on opposite sides of this red buff, and they're up so long that the junglers have respawned back. Another Q finds it. Please be quiet, says sit down, and shut up. It is gonna be there. It is gonna be another kill trade. It's just 1-for-1s over and over again. Thomas, you finally able to disengage.
It's good. It's fresh, and he even does delivery. What more could you want from your local Bakery Boy there? Oh, and the ace in the hole to cap it off here. I was gonna say, Rutgers actually won that, honestly speaking. Like, you're behind that much gold and you win the fight, and you're seeing the strength of their composition, the individual agency they all have, and the ability for them to get on the carries of St. Clair Saints. And then Bakery Boy just delivered. Like, he just came in and won that fight when it shouldn't have been won. He came in late. He didn't need a front line. Yeah, having Ricky was nice, and Ricky did a lot, but Ricky was also half dead by the time Bakery Boy arrived. And St. Clair Saints are able to come out with a win. I don't want to see more of that from Bakery Boy as a color caster, from St. Clair Saints as a color caster, because that means it's kind of sloppy setup. But as a viewer, more of that, please.
The fact that that was a minute long and Cynical and Alonso both came up in time to get to their respective global objectives, that is ridiculous. That was absolutely ridiculous. And it does show that Rutgers are still willing to fight. So now taking a look at what has gone down here, we do see the Herald go back into the pocket of Alonso, picking it up. It is going to be 2 dragons to the side of St. Clair as well. So after that immense fight, I think even they kind of took your words to heart, RMC. They said, hey, we're messing around a little bit more than we may like. Let's go ahead, clean up those global objectives. Let's set ourselves up force success, break down a few more of these towers, and look for an inhibitor.
Yeah, and step one for Saints here is actually getting the vision down. Rutgers has done a great job. If you look at their side of the map, it's largely red. And as I say that,
oh, well, that's one way to open up the top side. I mean, you needed a chance to look at some of those towers, and you found it. Please be quiet, went a bit too far.
yeah, did not see the bushback coming in. Oh, Rock Boom, Rafa getting caught again.
Again, it's the 7th camp of the jungle at this point. Rafa has not had a fun time as Cynical. That is the 4th. At this point, call a targeting foul. Just bring in the football season right there, will ya? 8 deaths as Rafa was one of the originals that we were saying, hey, stack up that Medjai's, but the tower falls, right? The price to pay for getting a singular kill on a support is 2 towers in the top lane.
Yeah, really good push.
Almost. I digress. Almost. Look at that. One tick.
They'll get it. Surely they'll get it, right? Bot side too, they almost managed to take that turret. Ricky is still dominating that 1v1 under turrets as well. There we go. It finally drops. Bakery Boy might be in a bit of trouble though. Getting collapsed on here. Does have flash.
Yep, the price to pay, right? Price to pay. Once again, you aren't getting out here. Ace in the hole and Silver is able to live. It was the price to pay, though. You got 2 towers. You did exactly what you wanted to do. And this is St. Clair. We're willing to trade that, right? 2 kills for 2 towers for a team that is looking to open up the base a bit more. I think they will absolutely take that as Ricky and Fleur now dancing in that top lane. And this is where Pun Pun is starting to be able to chunk out even through that unstoppable onslaught. It is still going to be the kill for Rafa. Thomas Yu trying to dance it out as Ricky LaFleur waiting for that kill to come back up, and you don't get it. Cynical able to butt their head out and pick up that kill.
Alonso on the hunt here, but ghosted Hecarim with the scuttle as well. Oh no.
Oh.
Silver.
Well, that is going to be Silver surviving in the encore to bring Alonso a little bit closer, opening up the space for Please Be Quiet to get a kill on the minion of Rafa, and they're going to go right back in. They are upset. St. Clair say, you killed our support one too many times. You are not allowed to do it again. A flash forward from Bakery Boy as they become the Bakery Man and Slaughter for a double kill.
I don't know how I feel about Bakery Boy right now. On one hand, he's picking up an awful lot of kills, but on the other hand, he's playing janitor here, and janitors and bakers, I'm having problems reconciling the two thoughts here. Alonso, 7-3-4. We had said that, okay, you know, first time playing a carry in the NECC here, and he is popping off right now. I expect to see Graves kind of banned against him going forward in this season. 7-3-4, and granted, a lot of that was Ricky buying time initially, but Alonso showing up seems to be the turning point of a lot of these fights here. And now, with those kills, with those turrets and inhibitor taken on the bot side here, St. Clair Saints finally break that 10k gold barrier once again. They're looking set to close it out. Baron is up and available, and I think with the 10k gold lead, the Saints should be able to take this very, very safely. I'd like to see more vision, but you know what, Orbital? They've made it this far without vision, so hey, could probably still do it without.
I mean, yeah, they don't care about vision because it's so bloody. At this point, they just expect to fight walking into some of these bushes. We have 46 kills on the map and looking for a 47th. A little bit of a slowdown, though, with Rock Boom. Absolutely 1v3s. Is looking for a bit more. Gonna slaughter a second double kill on the ADC. Outplay Pun Pun, realizing that this is also more dangerous. Thomas Yu getting slowed down. No summoner spells in the pocket. St. Clair Saints say get out of town. We'll say a prayer for your soul as they lock down the site. Cynical gonna run for their life. Pun Pun trying to lifesteal up a little bit further. A flash, a binding going wide as Pun Pun and Cynical run for the hills.
Yeah, and they're just buying time for Rock Boom to actually end this game here. You've got Bakery Boy pushing bot side. You've got Rock Boom pushing mid here. Cynical actually cutting the wave mid, and you see the missing pings coming down. Rock Boom going, hey guys, who's dealing with this guy? I need my minions, please.
Well, this is a bit of a problem. Pun Pun said, you sent a support to do a mid laner's job as Rafa gets silenced 100-0. In goes Alonso, getting some revenge. And Bakery Boy, again, getting encored out, is getting locked down, goes into the Zanyas. We were saying that St. Clair, we're pushing to close out the game. But it seems that there's still a little bit mismatched, right? Rutgers still playing this kind of fast and furious aggressive pacing. very, very well. And now Rock Boom is going to find an opportunity. Good cleanse to cut out that fear, and it gets the kill. But now, and Nexus Tower falls, and please be quiet, is alone. Rock Boom, no. Rock Boom, you can't do this. Rock Boom, you can't dance this. This is not cool. You get it. You get one more auto attack, and please be quiet realizes they have to stay in the shroud. Oh, the ace of the hole. That doesn't matter. Rock Boom, you're so mean. 9-3-8 for the Caitlyn.
Hey man, Rock Boom deserves it. He's been, I don't want to say he's been struggling in the early game, but yeah, having a support, be 6-10 isn't ideal for your AD carry throughout the mid game. So, Rock Boom, working out some of his frustrations here on the Rift. It's cheaper than a therapist. What can we say? Baron finally being started up here, and we had said it. All you need to do, take that Baron, and you can end the game. They're taking it kind of slow though. They do kind of need a tank here, and fortunately for them, Rutgers is not in any sort of position to try and contest this.
I would like to just point out, Rafa has not had a good time post 5 minutes. Rafa was sitting at 3-0 at one point at about 5 minutes, and has since accrued 10 deaths and 3 other kills. That is it feels bad, man, as a support player. For someone that was sitting on that Dark Steel, I just like to salute them for having to sell it and recognizing that they were not going to sack at this game. Right now, last stand attempt from Rutgers to try and hold on to the series, and it's just not going to happen. Rafa once again targeted and slaughtered, and St. Clair Saints say, cool, you got our support, but we are going to take the game. Thomas Yu in the fountain gets a shotgun full of lead, and it will be the game. St. Clair Saints maintain their undefeated series streak.
Well, as a support, first of all, I'm not going to acknowledge that he bought a snowball item. Never happened. It wasn't in his inventory. I don't know what you're talking about. Second of all, that's one of those support moments where you go worth, right? Like, focus me all you want. We're on your Nexus. We'll take that here. And for St. Clair Saints,
I do believe RMC was getting a bit too hot on the mic that he actually crashed his mic, so I'll go ahead and finish. Oh, wait, no, he's back. Okay, so the minion found his way back. Go ahead. Okay. Repeat what you were saying.
Yeah, what can I say, man? Bugs in the victory screen, right? Like, we managed to get off the Rift somehow first. So I'm not sure where I cut off, but I want to say that St. Clair Saints, not only did they win, but it was actually scary how they wanted the game too. Yes, it's a little bit sloppier, but more importantly, they actually went with more solo queue-esque style. It wasn't that nice, neat, clean closeout we saw in game 1. They got sloppy. They went for the 1v1s. They went for the 2v2s, and they showed that, hey, we can match hands here against Rutgers Black, who, while, yeah, sure, they did lose the games, they individually played very, very well. They showed why they're Masters average across the team here. So St. Clair Saints now say that, hey, we not only play really, really well as a team, but individually, we got hands too. So come at us, bro.
Yeah, I would also like to point out they did that with a team composition that is not geared specifically towards solo queue-esque, right? The Azir, a little bit more team fight in my opinion. The Graves, yes, very, very aggressive, but the Caitlyn and Lux meant to be that siege potential. And then, of course, Ricky Lafleur, at this point, no more words need to be said. So overall, very, very fun to watch this team break out. And the same for Rutgers to actually take it to that team fight heavy for the River to run red with 2.0 kills per minute. Ridiculously to be had. So a team that is currently still hunting for their first official win alongside their forfeit win, they still have a very big chance, and I'm very, very excited to see what they can do with this new ADC and see if Thomas Yu can bring a bit more glimmer to the gameplay throughout the rest of the season. That is going to be it for this Legends series, but there's more League of Legends action to be had here with the NECC mainstream. Coming up will be Champions Pacific as California State University Sacramento will go up against the University of California Davis, so make sure to stay tuned for that one. Also, I believe that will be Fish and Softchan to go ahead and cast that out. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
like snow. When it falls in the wind, you know. And you, oh, you say you wanna dance. You're wary, you know, you'll end up in the wrong hands. And you're having fun. Why don't you show your friends? And you're having fun. What if it never ends? I'm lacking sincerity, but you don't care at all. This booze, this cigarettes trying to take me home. Falling in love just a million times, breaking it off, put the feeling on ice sail. She's as cold as December. I swear I've seen you before, holding your shoes in your hands, running out that door. And you are nothing, but you say you wanna dance. And you're wary, you know, you'll end up in the wrong hands. I'm lacking sincerity, but you don't care at all. This booze, this cigarettes trying to take me home. Falling in love just a million times, breaking it off, put the feeling on ice sail. She's as cold as December.
Feelings, it's like I can't walk on the ceiling. Oh yeah, got me dreaming, dreaming in colors I never dreamed. Oh yeah, I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces, took 'em all and made 'em yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, off the sky onto my heart to cover up what I don't wanna show. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed. Skipping out, no, I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Ooh, you take me higher. Ooh, you take me higher, baby. You take me higher. Ooh, you take me higher, baby. You take me higher. Ooh, you take me higher, baby. You take me higher. Yeah, you take me higher, baby.
Left a star glowing in your eyes when I'm not aware. You left a scar. I fall into your lies all again.
Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go?
When I'm with you, I am able to keep pushing my limits, and all the drive that I have, well, I'm going the distance with you. I didn't know what I had till I knew what was missing, and everything that I dread, well, I built a resistance with you. Catch me when I fall, and I'll keep you on the ground. You were gone, I wish you'd stay. I could look at you for days. Time was well spent, that's when I knew that I need to spend my life here with you. Take your time, not in the fast lane. I understand that you've been broken too many times, but I'll be waiting to mend your wounds from all you've taken. But if we listen to each other and admit our mistakes, then I can show you who I am, because I'm not the same. I'm better with you. I'm better with you. I'm better with you. You catch me when I fall. You know I'll keep you on the ground. That's when I knew that I need to spend my life here with you.
The seasons come and go like thoughts of you. Like a wave returns to the sea into the blue. They change but in a cycle that I can't lose. Each painful but delightful to live through. You came into my life just like another season. Not for long, just a time, just like another season. Maybe this time next year you'll reappear for no reason, but I'll cherish every day until you come my way this season. The seasons turn and change just like your mind. Like the sun gives into the moon, into the night. Time continues marching
along, it slowly crawls. With each new one starting, I recall you came into my life just like another season. Not for long, just a time, just like another season. Maybe this time next year you'll reappear for no reason, but I'll cherish every day until you come my way this season. Each time of year carries memories, like a never fading whisper in the breeze. Oh, we will keep on changing all over again. Yeah, we will keep on changing, just like another season. Don't want another day without you by my side. Oh, this season. You came into my life just like another season. Not for long, just a time, just like another season. Just like another season.
Is it okay if I'm to say I'm catching feelings from all the dealings? Am I astray? What do you say? How are you feeling? Is it the same? I hope you're not planning to waste my time. To my surprise, that was her reply. Now we vibe. It's been a while and such a ride, the stars align. I love the fact I didn't let her go. She loves the fact that I just let her know. Now we're together, it's a different mode. We getting crazy in a different role. I love the fact I didn't let her go. She loves the fact that I just let her know. Now we're together, it's a different mode. We getting crazy in a different role. We getting crazy in a different role. She loves the fact that I just let her know. We getting crazy in a different role. We getting crazy in a different role. She my do or die, my bona fide. My up when I'm down, she's always beside me. She makes me feel alive, I won't deny. Her love for me is real and kinda suicide-y. She's not the same, she's such a rare type. She's far from plain, at least in my eyes. She said if I cross her, I'll be in the grave or under her type, but yeah, that's still my babe. I love the fact I didn't let her go. She loves the fact that I just let her know. Now we're together, it's a different mode. We getting crazy in a different role. I love the fact I didn't let her go. She loves the fact that I just let her know. Now we're together, it's a different mode. We getting crazy in a different role. We getting crazy in a different role. She loves the fact that I just let her know.
can watch me go, 'cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. You can watch me go, 'cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can watch me go, 'cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can watch me go, 'cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me.
When you dream, do you see beautiful rays of light shimmering, guiding you through the night? I know it feels like the night's getting longer and light is harder to find. I promise I'll always be there. I'll remind you when you close your eyes. If they send for me tomorrow, even if I leave right now, you'll find comfort there in knowing whenever in doubt, you can find me when the lights turn out. When the lights turn out. Of miles away, I can see you and me like it was yesterday. I know it's not the same, but I'm still behind you every step of the way. Look in yourself and I'll be there, I can guide you. All the love is the same. If they send for me tomorrow, even if I leave right now, you'll find comfort there in knowing whenever in doubt, you can find me when the lights turn out. When the lights turn
burn out.
I need a second to take a breath, to keep me guessing with what you said. You're in my head. We're under pressure, we're sinking deep like stormy weather. Can't seem to breathe when you're with me. If you're gonna break me, I know I won't stay. I don't wanna wait here. You push me away. If you're gonna choose, you don't know what to do. I don't wanna lose you, but I don't wanna lose me too. So complicated, don't mess it up. Feeling frustrated, it ain't enough to fix a love. If you're gonna break me, I know I won't stay. I don't wanna wait here. You push me away. If you're gonna choose, you don't know what to do. I don't wanna lose you, but I don't wanna lose me too. Hand on the wheel.
Welcome back into the NECC, wrapping up the night here on the mainstream with the California Showdown with Fish and Sophie here calling all the action. Sac State Green taking on University of California Davis Gold, UCD Gold, Sac State Green, Champions Pacific, Sophie. It's going to be a great showdown between these two teams for in-state bragging rights. At least that's what I'm going to paint this picture as.
Oh, yes, it will be. It will be Fish. And especially because we have seen that UCD Gold, University of California Davis, they are invictus so far. They have won every match in the NECC. So, high expectations for this team tonight.
And also, UCD Blue has already beat Sac State, so there's a little bit of inter-school bragging rights on the line if you're UCD Gold and you lose. But we have already hopped into the Game 1 draft. We'll quickly run it down for you. We've got Sac State right below me. We've got UCD Gold below Sophia there. We've got the Trundle, the Swain, the Yumi, the Silver, Gragas. All a lot of tanks, and you look across the field, it's Orn, it's Maokai, Corky's in there for some hyper carry there in the mid lane, but there's a lot of beef, there's a lot of tankiness heading onto the field of justice here for game number 1.
There is indeed. We have on the both sides two healers, such massive healers. We have Yumi on one side, Garrett, a AV Eternal on Sona. Interesting pick there because we haven't seen Sona in a while in the Rift alongside the Jinx. I think that's a good pick. We also have Corki as a second hyper carry for UCD Gold there. Whereas on the other side, we have that Sivir super strong at the moment. The Yumi alongside her is going to be amazing. The movement speed is going to be off the chart. She's going to be able to hunt everybody down, and especially alongside the possibilities coming from Gragas and Trundle, those there sharing top and jungle. I think it's going to be so good. Engages just all-ins that this team can do with all the ultimates involved. But I don't expect any less from UCD Gold. As we mentioned, they have been super great throughout the NECC early stages. We're right now in week 4, of course. So I think, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, if we have healers like that, we are going to have long team fights, Fish.
Yeah, and the thing that stands out to me is you look at UCD Gold's composition, you have to wonder who's going to build that grievous wounds that you're going to need to cut into the Yumi, to cut into the Swain. I mean, in Oblivion, you can slot in easily on Gragas for Sac State. You can put it on one of your tanky characters early, but, I mean, you know, Thornmail is usually the item of choice for Ornn, but you just get around that by just simply not attacking him. So I'm very curious if it's going to be the Jinx. Is it going to be the Corki? Is it going to be maybe more of like an AP Maokai, at least to get an Oblivion Orb to get that early Grievous Wounds? Because that's my one concern here for UCD Gold is they don't have a very easy way. There's no Ignites on that team as well. They don't have an easy way to apply Grievous Wounds to anybody on Sac State outside of Thornmail.
Yeah, that's very true. We might see that early item with the Grievous Wounds coming for Corki or Jinx, as you pointed out, is not having any ignites here is going to be a tough situation, because not only do they have the Yumi, they have the Yumi with the heal and the ignite for their Sona. So definitely going to be interesting team fights, and it would rely for UCD Gold, it would rely on trying to maintain the fights as quick as possible so that Yumi cannot keep on stacking and stacking those heals, especially with the other team members there, with the possibility of just getting the crows there regenerating on the mid laner and guaranteeing that the fight goes on and on. So I think they have to shut it down as quick as possible.
There's so much healing on Sac State, as you said. The Swain, the Yumi. Trundle has a bit of healing in his kit. So does Gragas, has that little bit of healing every so often with his passive that's going to add up in what appears to be, as you said, longer and longer team fights. And if you want to one-shot somebody, if you want to these team fights quickly, it's because your hyper carries are fed. But if your hyper carries are building an Executioner's Calling, as you suggested, then you're behind on items. So I got a lot of questions for UCD Gold. I'm going to say it right now. They've got to stand up in game number 1. Prove me wrong, because they drafted a great comp, but then they kind of just don't have a way to put Grievous Wounds on. So yes, I'm very, very concerned about what UCD Gold has in store for them against Sac State. But I think either way, we are in for a very long and very epic game 1. I'll put it that way. Anytime you see Yumi on the Rift, it's a very divisive champion, to say the least. So we probably have some people already tuning out just after they seeing that little cat appear on their screen. So I'm very curious, though. I'm very curious what this is going to do. I would be one of those people, by the way. Full disclosure, I'd be like, Yumi, get me out of here. Get me out of here. I don't want to see that champion. Absolutely despise it.
I mean, meow?
No.
Just no? Okay.
It's a joke with me and my friends. If when you ban someone in League of Legends, they have like a little quip. The only one I know is Yumi's, because she says, "Oh, you're a dog person, aren't you?" Because Yumi is permaban in all of Fish's games. That's the only one I know. Very disappointed in Sac State here that they have the Yumi. So I know I'm supposed to be a neutral party. Let's go UCD. Let's put this Yumi in the ground. Let's take all 9 of this cat's lives as we hop into game number 1.
Yes, we do, Fish. Hopping on in as we have UCD Gold going for that early meeting in the river. Everybody's scouting around. We have Sacramento getting the region covered there. Nobody's going to go for any aggressive pushes aside from a little poke on a Q there on Sona, Eve Eternal. But they're just being cautious, placing those wards. Have they? Yeah, we have one on the lower river there, and they're just defending the area for potential invades, Fish.
And nothing too cheeky, as you said. We put some forward warding, but really not that much, though.
Yeah.
You do see the UCD bot lane is going to kind of fake that this is a bot lane start, but both junglers are actually starting on the top side. We also get some interesting pings coming out there from the side of Sac State. If you saw the blue pings, look like a couple of maybe cheese level 2 gank here for Say Goodbye. I'll have to keep our eyes on what this Trundle exactly wants to do, because maybe trying to put that Ord behind a little bit early. We kick things off, the minions collide, and we'll see who is going to get the first bit of pressure here in this early game. Because if you can get a team that sustains a lot Sophia behind, it's going to be a lot harder for them to heal later in fights when they're trying to make up that gold difference.
Yes, it's true. And I think we might see something coming out from Sacramento State there more than we might see coming from the Maokai on the jungle. So I think maybe that Trundle, Say Goodbye, is going to be clearing out the jungle there, rotating for the bottom path, and just getting as much pressure as they can. As we see here, we have the Jinx pushing a lot. Oh, I'm sorry, the Sivir pushing on the Jinx. And, well, that's literally what Sivers do. They have that potential to push so much. And that's what she's doing with the Ricochet. She doesn't want to freeze this. She want to get the first level 2 advantage, get the warding, maybe get the Scuttle Crab themselves there. Trundle might be rotating to meet them halfway, so we'll see how this is going to be played.
And both junglers end up going for the more passive route. Trundle already onto his second buff, maybe headed down to that bot lane, maybe gonna let Life shove this one out on that Jinx. Meanwhile, again, Wet Noodle fight up in the top lane, as we've seen kind of become the meta in these NECC games, the Gragas and the Ornn. Gragas gonna have that passive healing, so I shouldn't be too concerned, though Arthur Dent is taking a bit of damage. There is that Ricochet just chunking the healthfuls of the Jinx and the Sona, but both junglers might get a little bit of a River Scuttle fight here, Sophia, maybe? Maybe?
This is pretty possible. Actually, Maokai going for a deep warding situation. It might meet the Trundle halfway that they might be waiting for it, but top off, we have already the just dive onto the Gragas. So ballsy coming from the Ornn, and unfortunately it goes to the other side. The Sacramento State gets the first.
That was a very aggressive play by Ornn. You see they're still poking down on the bottom side of the map as well. The junglers did have a bit of an interaction, but nothing too crazy. As A1's going to push in that mid lane. We're going to give a little bit of advantage. But now, around this River Scuttle, Arthur Dent already down here. Should pretty much lock up that top River Scuttle for the jungler. We go back down bot lane. You can see the Sona already out of mana, so the healing is going to be at a bare minimum. But the Sivir, Love Me, also out of mana. So, going to be a little bit harder. Got to use that spell shield. Maybe try and soak a Jinx W. Something to get a little bit extra mana on the Sona to secure a kill if they want to do that in the bot lane.
Yes, and Fish, we do have both champions here, the Sivir and the Yuumi, with the capabilities of actually regaining that mana. So, very interesting. I like this combo a lot. As you mentioned, we have the shield for Sivir to guarantee the regen on the mana there really quickly, and absorbing, of course, the spell shield on the W or Sona Q. And at the same time, you have the Yuumi going for the little auto attacks, regaining that mana, which eventually converts into health for both of them, especially for Ivmi. So I think that's a great bot lane, but Maokai is engaging on them as we do speak.
Oh, risky there from Garrett. Almost got caught out as the Yuumi, but was able to jump back over to that Sivir just barely in time to dodge the twisted advance. That would have been a dead cat had they been just a split second later. But unfortunately, UCD Gold can't find anything on the bot lane now. So they're still down that first blood on the top side of the map. The jungle CS, the real only eye catcher right now, Sophia. It's about a double CS lead for the Trundle. That's kind of what you expect. He plows through the jungle as opposed to a Maokai.
Definitely does. And not only that, you have to be wary of the pressure that the Toronto can have on the lanes as well. Not only in invading your own jungle, as they are doing right now. So they are going to increase their CS lead. They're going to get the XP ahead of Maokai. Unfortunately, that is going to make for weaker lanes for UCD Gold here. So I think it's great that Say Goodbye is applying that pressure, since that's what the champion can do.
Now the Arthur Dent, by the way, picked up that kill. He has been bullying this Ornn. Both of them do hit level 6. Gragas a little bit lower on mana. Does have to be a bit careful. Also make sure there is no ult coming out from Ornn, as we do see Say Goodbye is backing in that tri-bush. So if this Ornn gets a little bit aggressive, he would have been picked off. But the back is completed. Flash war by Arthur Dent. Explosion cast into the queue for the kill. What a combo for the Sac State top laner. Now he's up 2-0 in the lane.
Hey, look at that. Great playing, connecting the flash with the bounce there on the belly, getting the ultimate as well, and guaranteeing the blood on the Ornn on the top path, just equalizing those two laners there. Actually, not really equalizing, because even though it wasn't engaged earlier from Ornn, the kill was to Gragas as well, so it's a 2-0 lead on the top lane.
Something tells me Arthur Dent plays just a little bit of Gragas after that combo. He played that perfectly. Meanwhile, we got a potential gank. Say Goodbye is coming down. He will take care of that ward and maybe even move this over onto the dragon, but it looks like instead doesn't quite know where a man with a plan is, so he is going to instead opt for the reset here, going back into his own jungle. Try and hit 6, because Maokai, as you pointed out, getting counter jungle down at CS, a level behind this Trundle right now in the jungle, and that's going to hurt when it comes to Dragon or maybe this first Rift Herald.
Yes, it is. And in the top lane, the Gragas is really still pushing so hard on the random noob. And unfortunately, oh, look at that. Just clean freezing of the lane, not letting it crash under the tower, guaranteeing the farm. It's fairly equal there. But on the bottom path, they don't want to go equal. They want to go in on the UCD bottom lane.
Oh, we got a flash into the Call of Forge God. The shutdown picked up by the Ornn. Even the couple of tower shots not going to deter him. So he finally gets back in that lane. The shutdown will help as well. And so far, all of our action, who would have guessed, would have been in an Ornn Gragas top lane. Not what I expected. Usually the tank players are very passive. They just farm. But no, these guys are brawling right now.
They are brawling, they're bruising, and they really want to get onto fights, because I feel like we have seen a lot, as you said, of the Ornn on the top lane, Gragas as well. Usually, I think we casted a couple of games where we saw Ornn versus Maokai, like three games in a row, like switching from side to side on 1 point. So now we have the Ornn and the Maokai on the same team. Unfortunately, as we mentioned earlier, it's not the best of the early games for Maokai, men with a plan, especially getting counter-ganked and counter-farmed by Say Goodbye as well, with the potential that Toronto has. It is really pushing back that potential of getting the pressure early on Sacramento State.
Both junglers do hit level 6, so man with a plan has caught up a little bit here. We haven't even seen a play at a neutral objective, as we look like A1C going to use that teleport, go back to mid lane. He is, by the way, building up quite a farm lane. Just picked up this Murrow mana there in the mid lane, trying to get to that 2-item power spike that Corky's love to hit in that mid game, and that's kind of the shining grace right now for UCD. Corky's got nearly a 20 CS lead over this Swain in the mid lane, and we talked about just trying to blow up the side of Sac State, and we'll say A1 right now, maybe well on his way to pulling that off.
Yeah, it might be coming from the mid lane, it might be coming from Corky, the possibility of stomping a little more. You have Jinx on your side, and she's there. She's farming, she's not getting killed, but maybe she is going to, as the Maokai ulti is trying to get the Sacramento State bot lane, but it's not enough. It was a very far shot, Fish, I think.
I didn't think it was going to connect, but I mean, look what they got out of the Sac State bot laner. They got Ghost, they got Flash, they got the ultimate as well from the Sivir. Every movement ability used there. The ult will be back off cooldown here relatively soon, but all of those summoners being popped does mean it will be a first dragon over to UCD Gold. Meanwhile, the Trundle did pick up the Rift Herald, so that you trade objective for objective. By the way, explosive cast coming in from Arthur Dent. Call the Forge God. Can they pick up the kill? They try and use the Trundle Pillar to stop it. It doesn't matter. Arthur Dent picks up his 3rd kill of the game. Rift Herald's going to go down on top side as the Jinx rocket just misses.
Yeah, that was close one, but good shot there. They knew they didn't have a good possibility on the bottom lane. Oh, actually, got confused on the teams that it was a UCD Gold that got the pressure on the bottom lane. As you said, you had Eve Me with no cooldowns. They were everything. The summoner spells, the ultimate was all on cooldown. So it was a great opportunity to get the early Drake, the Inferno there, get the ulti, the super death mega rocket on Jinx to try and snipe the Gragas. It would be a good shutdown. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. I think it was a good try, and even though UCD Gold looks like they were a little behind here on this bottom part, they are not anymore, Fish.
The crescendo comes out. Here comes a man with a plan, and they pick up one onto Sivir. Here comes Gragas, but the teleport is too late. It's a double kill on the bot lane. Don't quite want it to be on the Sona, but I think you'll still take 2 kills regardless if you're UCD. And they kind of catch this bot lane for Sac State. They didn't respect the crescendo. Now Gragas has got to be careful. A man with a plan is still here. Twisted Advance going to go in. Bramble Smash right back to his bot lane. Arthur Dent, very tanky, going to get hit by the Chilling Smite. Say goodbye. Walking on his way down. He's going to flash forward. He wants to go in on life. Trundle Pillar does go down. The Subjugate is going to be used. Here comes Corky, though. It's a 4-on-2 against Sac State. They're going to run out of damage. Explosive Cast trying to combo down the Sona. They'll at least pick up one. Flash Barrel Body Slam. Gets another, and all of a sudden, it's a 3-for-0 bot side for Sac State.
Arthur Dent, those combos connecting like a god. Amazing on that Gragas so far. And really, this bottom lane just turned into a massacre for UCD when we noticed that even though they started the fight, the follow-up from Sacramento State was incredible. And Ivy Me and Yumi are going to take the on the top lane, and they did the same here on the bottom on that. It's enough. I didn't think it was going to be enough, Fish.
Hey, the second snipe lands. It was a delayed team kill for Sac State, by the way. Only ruined, unfortunately, by that super mega death rocket. But yeah, I mean, the on the hunt immediately proc, kind of just seeing how far behind that Ornn is after being bodied by Arthur Dent. The explosive cast damage comboed with the flash body slam onto life. And all of a sudden, I thought this was going to be more of a tanky team with the Gragas. This looks like absolute pure damage Gragas. He's got the Night Harvester already, working on the Archangels. I think Arthur Dent is somebody that UCD, I don't know if they were ready for the amount of damage he's going to put out on this Gragas.
I don't think so either. And it feels like this Gragas is going to be like a sort of assassin, engaged situation, because he's got so much damage right now. And it's not even going to be Sivir or Swain who are going to be doing damage mid game. It's going to be the Gragas, as they have been doing so far. 4-2. But we are engaging here on the bottom path as well as they go for the bottom lane. And maybe a man with a plan is going in too deep here, Fish.
Yeah, the spell shield from Sivir canceled. The Bramble Smash that would have knocked that Sivir back into range. On the hunt is procced here. Ivy trying to go in and pick up a kill onto the Sona. Can they get in range for the pillar? They can, but the tower is going to stand in their way. This Gragas now over on the mid lane. Going to go back up to the top side as that random noob will get some damage on the towers. We did, by the way, see 4 plates going on to this UCD Gold bot lane. So they have quite a bit of gold. Subjugate going to be popped.
Oh, wow.
They want to kill the Jinx, and they will. Great job resetting the tower aggro. Oh, never mind. Wow. I thought they got out of range. Now Garrett able to jump away, teleport from that random noob with the call of the Forge God. And that tower dive goes completely wrong. It's a 1-for-3, multiple shutdowns given up. Definitely not worth it for Sac State.
Life zone there on the Jinx, really so good, clearing out that lane, making sure that the minions were going to be gone. They knew they were going to be dived on. It was so clear that Toronto was rushing for their lives. So Jinx just cleared out that lane. It was super effective, allowing for the turret to knock and target on them as quick as possible. Sona gets the first kill, and then they're close to getting the second. The comeback from, I think it was, the Ornn there following up. with the TP. Super great in finalizing the play, really getting everything wrong for Sacramento State. That fish was incredible by UCD State.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of fights play out exactly the opposite of how we expected. We had that 2v4 for Sac State where they ended up picking up 3 kills. Now we see Arthur Dent, even with the DPS item, he is so tanky as the Dragon is picked up. A man with a plan goes in, does get rooted, but it looks like Sac State is just going to start retreating. They do have Arthur Dent on the backside with the explosive cast. They might look to turn this, but unfortunately Rank's not there. 2-man knock up the package. Valkyrie in here from A1C, but I don't think he's tanky enough. He's the first one to go down. They trade 1 for 1. Here comes Arthur Dent. Can he get in range in time is going to be the question. He's on the top side of your screen trying to 1v1 the Sona, but the Gragas was just too late, Sophia. If he comes down immediately, they win that fight instead. It's a 4 for 1 in favor of UCD Gold.
That was so good for UCD Gold. Really, the positioning from all of the players there, and especially having Live Dome really at the edge of the fight. They were just throwing rockets after rockets, fish, and the health bars on Sacramento State were dropping and dropping with the AoE damage and the CC from Ornn, from Maokai, Sona as well, and also the damage from the Corki. Really made for an amazing fight for them, as you said. Unfortunately, Arthur Dent was not fast enough to reach to it. At least they didn't die to the Jinx as well. So I think there's still much game to be played, but definitely be wary that you have to get on that Jinx to be able to shut her down.
You gotta get on the Jinx. You gotta make sure your teammates are all on the same page. As Arthur Dent was just a little bit behind getting to that fight, as we are going to see, thanks to those kills, mainly the assist there for that Corki. Going to pick up the Muramana upgrade. They're going to get their Ludens as well, and this Corki is now suddenly very online and very scary.
No, yeah.
This could be a problem, because now you have to worry about 2 hyper carries, as you pointed out in the Giraffe, Sophia. Instead of just the Jinx, you've got to find your way onto the Corki as well.
Yes, you do. And both of them have pretty good range. And right now the Jinx is 4, 2, and 6. So whoever gets the shutdown on her is going to be huge. 400 gold bounty. And we hope for Sacramento State it doesn't go for that Yuumi, as both Titans here, the top laners, are facing each other in the bottom lane. And so far, Ornn is still pretty good, dealing good damage, tanking a lot. Even though Gragas had that amazing early game.
Yeah, the problem for Arthur Dent is that the later this game goes, that random lol noob has caught up. He's going to start getting those Ornn upgrades on his team's mythic items, which is going to just bring more gold onto the side of UCD Gold, who has about a 1k gold as we hop onto the second Rift Herald, being very contested. Who's going to win the Smite fight as the Nature's Wrath comes out? Say goodbye. Has to be very careful. Knocked back over with the Bramble Smash. And that's going to secure the second Rift Herald, the side of UCD Gold.
Oh,
that's a tongue twister. Uh-oh. XPNX, what are you doing? Has to pop the demonic form, but he's just going to get simply kited away. Mid-game, it's all UCD Gold.
Oh no, what a misplay. That was very unfortunate by XPNX. It was, on the other side, such a good fight for... Yeah. Oh no, Arthur Dent really going in for this 1v2, getting backed up with the Ornn as well here, as they're going to try to get on Gragas. They get the shutdown on him, and well, it's a good comeback again for UCD Gold. But as I was pointing out, Fish, so great from them, stopping completely the damage on the Herald before they said, okay, we need to get Say Goodbye down before we even think about doing something to this Herald. And they did that to perfection, so careful in the communication to prevent anybody from dealing more damage to the objective. Mwah, loved it.
This Maokai play has been,
Yeah?
It sickens me that he's back in the jungle meta because of just the amount of CC he has. So, I mean, you got the Bramble, you got the Twisted Advance, you got the Bramble Smash over the wall, as you pointed out, to get Say Goodbye killed. Now we're probably going to have a battle over this next dragon. The dragons are tied at one aside. It's our first Earth Dragon of the game. It will be a Mountain Soul, so I'll be curious to see who sort of takes the lead there, as this is definitely one of those games where it feels like we're going to get a Mountain Soul at some point, and I don't think there's anything these two tanky teams would like more than to just get more raw tank stats passively from these dragons.
Exactly. I think it's really funny that we're going to get this mountain soul in the game. 3 mountain drakes at least that we're going to have to see happening. And the stacks are going to be built and built. And look at this gold difference from the start. Just all going for Arthur Dent in the beginning for Sacramento State, and then all of a sudden flipped around for UCD Gold as both teams should be collapsing here. They actually are not, and Sacramento State might get this uncontested.
Super Mega Death Rocket comes out, not even close. They will, for UCD Gold, drop the Rift Herald, and it will get in range. Explosive cast trying to push them off, but the charge will go up, trying to open up that mid lane turret. The Trundle Pillar does go down. There's no engage to follow up, and the mid tier 1 does barely survive, though one more wave with the Jinx or the Corki should easily just rip apart this turret that is so important to just having a control of your opponent's side of the map. And right now that is very much favoring UCD Gold, as they're maybe even looking at least for a fake onto Baron. They're going to start the trigger now. We'll see if they want to stick with it. So
They're
far,
actually melting. Look at that.
There's no one on Sac State even. I don't think Sac State knows it's happening. Sac State has no vision. The Baron just goes over for free.
Wow. Fish. Wow. The ulti from a man with a plan, zoning people out. If anybody were to think to get onto the river, along with the rocket jump from Corki as well, just getting the area cleaned up. Wow. They said, well, we're going to take the story down, but we're going to take it down in style. We're going to have it with the buff, with the minions, the Baron with us. And we're not going to take only the tier 1, we're going to take tier 2. And it's going to be so easy, we're even going to rotate for top.
Yeah, we were very much questioning UCD Gold's game plan when they gave away that dragon for free. Well, I think they proved that that's why we're the casters, Sophia. They knew exactly what they were doing. They leave the dragon alone. They get the Baron uncontested. And now I want to see what they're going to do with the Baron. As you said, they got tier 1, they got tier 2. There's really no other waves pushing, though, and both tier 1s are down mid or top and bot. So you are going to have to be a little bit careful. Is it going to be Ornn split pushing? Is it going to maybe be A1C trying to split push on this Corki? Now that he's finished his Tiamat, his wave clear is going to be absolutely insane. Those rockets are chunking. They have some plays they can make with this Baron. I want to see what they do.
Yes, definitely. And it's such a shame the Sacramento didn't get the bounty there on the mid turret. It was so close. It would help them a lot, especially for the Sivir. And having the Baron, they're going to be able to prevent and protect that mid turret so much more easily. And all the other lanes, as we see, it's pretty much frozen. Aside from the mid, we have it frozen on half of the lane there, on top and bottom. So as they're positioning here, they might be going for this tier 2 bottom, and the Ornn is going to just get the presence on the mid, just split some attention, and of course buff the minions so it's more difficult for them to farm.
So far you've got, looks like all 5 members of UCD Gold roaming down to the bottom side of the map. Say goodbye in the bush, gonna have to try and run away. Thought he could get the sneaky back off. That's not the case. I think this tier 2 is just simply going to fall without much of a contest. Look at that rocket hitting Sivir down. They want to engage into this tower of falls. Call the Forge God going to get in the knockup on it too. Here comes the Nature's Grass. Say goodbye is in there, and he might as well run away. He's the first one to fall. The health bar's incredibly low for everybody except Arthur Dent. With the cannon there, we'll just be able to siege this tower, wait for a minion wave. It's another team fight 1 for UCD Gold. And Sophia, what do you do if you're Sac State? I mean, we saw the gold graph about 5 minutes ago. It's flipped on its head. How does Sac State get back in this game?
I have no idea. They don't have ultis right now. The turret's going to fall. They're going to get the inhibitor too. It's just 4v5. No, 3v5. It's a 2v5. I don't think there's anything they can do now.
I think this might just simply be game. Baron has fallen. Arthur Dent has fallen as well, though. There's the 1 minion wave pushing it. It's enough for 1 Nexus Tower. Can the cannon stay alive for Nexus Tower number 2? Yes, it can. And UCD Gold gonna claim game number 1. 25 minutes. It's a hell of a lot faster than I thought this game was gonna be based on the draft, and especially based on that early game. I thought Sac State had this in the bag, and as you said, by the time the question even came up of how does Sac State get this game, They lost before you could even come up with an answer. That's how
Nope.
dominant UCD Gold was.
Yeah, it was really insane. UCD Gold was coming on top after they turned around on those fights. We pointed out earlier that the presence of gold was coming from Arthur Dent. It was coming from that Gragas on the top lane. So really, when those ganks turned out wrong and they got, I think it was that first dive on the bottom lane. Trundle tried to go in, and the assists and kills went to Sona, assists for the Jinx, and then they came back to the lane so much stronger. For that Jinx, it was incredible. It was exactly what she needed. Coming with Maokai as well. And I think that happened earlier too. The Maokai getting flash, heal, and ultimate from Sivir as well, just allowing the Sona and Jinx to be so clean, just so nice and breezy on the bottom lane to apply pressure there. So from that point on, they just skyrocketed, and making justice to having a Jinx and a Corki in that game, that's what they did.
Yeah, that first tower dive, exactly as you pointed out, that's where this whole game flipped. I think if that's where you look at the gold graph, that's where it went from all Sac State to all UCD. And I will say, I do want to give a shout out to A1C. You didn't notice till the late game when he started two-shotting people. He was winning that lane the whole time. 20 CS, 30 CS up on that Swain, and it showed when we got to that team fight stage. And also, whoever's the shot caller for UCD, brilliant job on that Baron. They had no idea you guys were there. But we'll take a quick break. We've still got game 2. Easily, Sac State can make this a series and get us to game 3. Can they do that, or will UCD Gold get the sweep and stay undefeated? We'll find out after this break.
message from a new world I'd never known. Something about it felt like it'd been waiting my whole life. Is this home? I can hear each sound calling my name, and I feel angels around when I start to sing. And suddenly it feels like heaven's not so far away. Tell me, can you hear the symphony? Panic, panic, I can't help but think that it's meant to be, that I'm finally right where I'm supposed to. If I let you into the secret, would you listen? I can hear each sound calling my name, and I feel angels around when I start to sing. And suddenly it feels like heaven's not so far away. Tell me, can you hear the symphony? Panic, panic, and before too long I found where I belong. I can hear it, I can hear it, oh, I can't stop the rush. Every note I touch, I can feel it saving me. Tell me, can you hear the symphony?
Where you look, where you touch, where you feel, yeah. Where you look, where you touch, where you feel, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you?
Welcome back in here to the NECC, getting ready for maybe our final game of the night, or maybe we've got one more left in it. Fish Sofchan here. Get ready to call all the action. We've got Sac State, UCD Gold blowing away in game number one, honestly. Looked like maybe it was going to be a close game, but then that tower dive, like we talked about, everything fell apart, and the UCD Gold ran away with it. We're getting ready for game two. The pro draft just finished, and Sofchan, what does Sac State need to do to make this a three-game series? Because game one, after about 10 minutes, was not close.
Yes, it definitely was not. I think that Sac State has to be, well, now conscious about what they saw from UCD Gold. Because they did a couple of things that were very unexpected. Even ourselves, like watching and casting it, we didn't expect them to not go for the Drake and go for such an early Baron. But they knew they had the damage. They knew they had the zoning ability with the Corki, with the Maokai, to not let anybody go to the river and get close to it. So I think that now that they have that in their brains, they can be more prepared for it. So they have to be a little more outside the box in regards to gameplay and also in regards to draft. So we'll see how this is going to play out, as we already have most of the first bans coming through. Once again, Sac State on the blue, UCD Gold on the red, coming with Silas, the Cassidin, Graves as bans, and then Volibear, Nautilus, and Ari.
Pretty sure those were almost the same bands we saw in game number one. My question was going to be, maybe do we see a different band? Do we see the Gragas band? Which the answer was no. Arthur Dent's going to get that for the second game in a row. So what does that random lol noob have to counter? He picks the Mordekaiser, which I think is an interesting one. The Aatrox in the mid lane is definitely a statement there for A1C. I'm very curious. I mean, maybe feeling like it's more of a Galio-specific counter. I do like that Maokai ban. Even though it was UCD Gold banning it, I do like it because that champion is so strong right now. But I think the big champion we need to talk about in this phase one, though, is the J4, a staple of League of Legends jungling in the past.
So true.
It has been so long since we've seen him, and he comes out on the Rift here for a man with a plan.
Yes, they come with it, and we were talking about, like, we have not seen this king in a minute. We have seen other types of kings, Rune King, maybe Viego, but not J4. So this is super different. And looking at Ivmi as well with the Aphelios, these two comps are super, well, if we were talking about out of the box, maybe that's it. So we'll see how this is going to work out for these two teams. I hope that Sacramento State have what it's needed to beat UCD Gold, because as you said, after 10 minutes, the stomp was there. The domination was absolutely there. So let's hope and see if this team can get the series into a game 3. And, well, if maybe it's going to be dominating for Sacramento State this time.
Yeah, I think the big question for me is, I mean, can Arthur Dent dominate again? Because he was dominating through that entire game. Went with a more squishy Gragas build. I don't know if it paid off. He might go a bit more tanky since they have the Kindred as well, but they need to just play around him. There were a couple team fights where he wasn't there. That's where everything started to snowball off, and I will say these drafts, very different from what we saw in game number one, right? Especially for UCD Gold, who is on the right side of your screen. Very little in the way of tanks. You just kind of have tanky damage. There's bruisers, I guess is the proper term, in the Mordekaiser, in the Jarvan, in the Aatrox. they don't have those raw tank stats like they had with the Ornn, like they had with the Maokai. So I'll be very curious to see how that is played. And I think we had a Kindred game last week, Sofchan, and the same things we said last week apply this week. Does Say Goodbye win the Kindred lottery? Is his mark the first mark he's able to pick up? Can he do it quickly? Can he start stacking to that four mark dream as soon as possible? The game we did, the Kindred was behind super early, then got a couple of kills, turning around and absolutely popped off. So I'm very curious how this early game goes for Say Goodbye, because he's either going to dominate or he's basically going to be useless if he can't get his marks.
Yeah, and going on top of what you said about not having that many tanks on the side of UCD Gold, I think we can mention how the potential of melting from that Aphelios can be just absolutely devastating, because if you have those, I always forget the names, Aphelios has so many weapons there, but the one that goes really fast and looks like shuriken, something like that. Yeah, so basically that one, they can melt it. Anybody on that team. And I know we have the Lulu, but of course, once again, Lulu is going to give more health, not more defense, no more tankiness. So it's just going to be a little longer for the Aphelios to take you down. But at the same time, you have the polymorph with Lulu, so we'll see how that's going to go. And I haven't seen Thresh in a while either. I think at this point I prefer Sacramento State's comp. At least on the drawing board, I think it looks better, it looks more rounded. You have the Galio, you have the potential early damage with Gragas, but also tankiness. As you said, I agree. We should have an Arthur Dent going for more a tanky Gragas instead of being that squishy. And with the ultimate from Kindred, I think it can be just so complete.
There's going to be some absolute hilarity with the Kindred ult. Galio's going to come flying in there. Jarvan's probably going to have a Cataclysm down it. You know, it's going to be who has the most members inside a circle, inside a circle, inside a circle that determines some of those team fights. But I think I'm with you. And the big thing for me, the big question mark for UCD Gold is that Aatrox, right? Is this something that A1C swears is a hard Galio counter that he pulled out? Because you have just removed really the range factor from your team outside of that Jinx you're going to want into Ivy, as you said, and that Aphelios, if he gets red and white, he is absolutely going to melt you. So that Aatrox is that big question mark for me. This has to be a counter pick that A1C says, look, I've got this in my back pocket. I know this is a Galio counter. Trust me. And I'm ready to see if it works out, because he was so huge on that Corki in game one, and to take him off a hyper carry and put him on Aatrox, well, I'm not a fan. I got to lean Sac State with you. I got to be honest.
Yeah. I definitely lean Sac State, but well, looking at that Aatrox, I agree with everything you said. You don't have the range, you don't have the hyper carry potential, but maybe they're confident that the Jarvan plus the Aatrox are going to be a good counter for the Galio. I just, it would have to be something to ask them in an interview afterwards if we had such things, because I am very confused as well.
Look, that'll be the matchup I'm going to focus on. Again, I think we talked about it both. Does Arthur Dent go for this sort of still Wombo-y combo build? Does he instead maybe try and go a bit tankier? We hop into game 2 on the Rift. Can UCD Gold move to 4-0 in the NECC? Or does Sac State have a game 3 up their sleeves? We're about to find out. And interestingly enough here, the first thing, well, I'm curious what UCD Gold wants to do with this Death Ball, but Say Goodbye has the Mordekaiser mark. Usually as a Kindred, you're marking the enemy jungler for that River Scuttle fight. This tells me Say Goodbye might try something tricky up top level 2 with blue buff. I'm going to have to keep my eyes on that, because you rarely ever mark the top laner unless you're going for a cheeky play.
Yes, that sounds pretty much what might be happening here, Fish. As you said, I think it's a good move, and you have to take advantage of the range, of the possibilities of stacking those marks early with Kindred, as we saw on the other last week, right? It was Kindred getting denied on the marks on Scuttle, but the kills were essential to get her back onto the game, so that might be that course of action. Everybody's just coming back to their lanes here. Nothing much different than ordinary on bottom lane. Just faking out that leash, as we have been seeing recently. much.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. Again, very curious what Say Goodbye will do with this Mordekaiser mark. If he's maybe just using it as a fake as well, I'll have to see. Because we get Arthur Dent dominated that top lane match. It would not shock me if Arthur Dent's able to pick up first blood once again. So far, Kindred just slowly farming. And looks like, we will not have an exciting early game here, Sochan. It's going to be just farming per usual.
Yeah, but we have the both junglers encountering each other. Jarvan is going in, and Man with a plan definitely does have a plan as they're going in on that jungle there. We don't have much vision. Things coming from Kindred as they showed that Jarvan is in their area. So nothing really happened. But Jarvan is really putting the pressure on the vision and ganking right here on the middle lane.
Jarvan with red buff is so scary. The flag and drag to get that red buff slow onto XPNX. Here comes Say Goodbye, trying to lock in those kills, flashed away by the Galio. And this could even be maybe a camp steal for a Man with a plan, trying to get some revenge for last game where he was behind most of the early game. And we might even get a battle at this red buff here, potentially, depending on how confident as we see up top. Arthur Dent, we've seen this story before. He was low health, he baited that random lull move. Meanwhile, we get a death sentence. Bottom lane, life done, has to flash away, eats the ignite, traps go down, flash forward from Ivy, trying to pick up the kill, the heal, and the shield is enough. And a Man with a plan coming in for the flash, flag and drag, looking for first blood, and he picks it up. A huge gank from the UCD gold jungler.
Man with a plan really popping off in this game. I love this fish. The positioning from Jarvan was amazing. They came in, they were around the area. The shielding and the healing from Lulu there, of course, the summoner spell on Jinx were just enough to keep the ADC alive. But they're going in once again. The flash forward. And she can't dodge. Yeah, she can't dodge that. It's going to be life zone gun down. Very nice comeback from Sacramento State. It's really good from both of these teams, getting that pressure on the bot lane.
It was not a pretty play there by Garrett. Missed the flash play, but he landed a death sentence. That's all that matters. Meanwhile, XPNX maybe proving that A1C's counter pick wasn't quite the play. This Aatrox very, very low. Yeah. But I will say the top river scuttle does go over to Jarvan. That's one mark denied. I do not believe Say Goodbye got the mark changed to the Jinx in time either. So that is still a 0 mark Kindred out on the Rift for Sac State. So even though they got a kill, the marks are the crucial thing that they're going to be missing here early in the game.
Yes, they are, and that's definitely what's going to help you get back onto the game. But they're trying to get one here, even though they don't have the mark. They're trying to get pressure for the mid lane. They're doing a good job, especially since XPNX really softened it up as well. Aatrox was already very low on health. And once again, Arthur Dent on the top lane. They're doing damage, but that random noob is also putting it back together.
This is how that random noob died in the first game. Tried a tower dive onto the low health Gragas. Couldn't quite pull it off. Garrett on this Thresh has been very strong so far. A couple of great death sentences landed to pick up a kill for his team. And early on in game 2, it's kind of what we saw in game 1. The gold's still technically in UCD's favor thanks to some better farming. As here comes Say Goodbye. This is the mark he wanted onto that random lol noob. Can he get away? There's no flash on the Mordekaiser. Flash from Say Goodbye. The flash picks up the kill there, and he gets his first mark.
Oh, that was really nice. I thought they were going to get away, but it was enough. I think it was a switch on targeting for the turret there, so they were able to get it and get out in safety quickly enough. They got the plating too, so really, really nice counter there, and especially as we mentioned for the Kindred, the mark that's going to help her get back into the game. Because so far, as you mentioned, well, it was a little bit for UCD in regards to gold, but now it's a little bit for Sacramento State. So definitely a super balanced game so far, Fish.
Yeah, both these teams are pretty close to each other. As you said, we've got a dragon picked up here from UCD Gold. First dragon of the game. Looks like we will not have Hextech or Cloud Soul, which I think the teams will be happy about. Means that Some of the more powerful dragons, the Inferno Dragon, the Mountain Dragon, the Ocean Dragon, all still on the table for potential souls. And we have to see now if there's a trade of Heralds here, because last time it took forever for that first dragon to go down. The Rift Herald went over to Sac State in a trade. Now, UCD Gold has a chance to maybe pick up this Rift Herald here in a couple of minutes. Very curious if they can start to build an early lead in Game 2 as they look for the sweep.
And I think actually, Fish, that they might go for something a little more precise, not doing those early dives as they did on the top lane, getting the Gragas their first blood. So I think they're going to be more cautious about when they engage. So when we had Thresh going on the bot lane and the counter from a man with a plan guaranteeing that the bot lane survived and that they got the kills as well, it really is looking like that's how they're going to play. So they're going to go for more counters instead of making plays themselves. Even though this Jinx, she looks very aggressive so far.
The Life Done ended up popping off in that second half of game number 1. As you pointed out, got a couple of early assists off that botched tower dive and never looked back. But so far, game 2 started to slow down a bit. Again, Arthur Dent very far ahead on this top side, has 1 kill and an assist to his name. And I think the big question is, we talked about in the draft, is it this burst Gragas build with the Night Harvester, with the Archangel Staff, or is he going to go a little bit more tanky? As we'll have to find out as the items start coming in. Me just pushing in. Red and white could mean a great chance for a fight here, but unfortunately Garrett can't quite find the death sentence.
Yeah, but to be fair, Garrett has been pushing a lot of pressure, even though we didn't have all the best executed plays with that flash and fillet there. But at the end of the day, they got the death sentence. It was enough to take down Jinx. So, well, it's what a Thresh has to do, right? They have to be that dominance so you don't feel like you're comfortable to farm in lane.
Get a farm once again. A1C up about 12, building that advantage ever so slowly. That random dude gonna pick up Arthur Dent. They're gonna go into the death realm. Really no one moving up. This is gonna be a 1v1 to the death for the top laners. Arthur Dent trying to body slam away, and he gets smashed down by the Mordekaiser. That's a kill and some revenge for that random little dude.
That's a powerful hammer. That random noob really popping off on that top lane. Getting that 1v1, as you mentioned, nobody was around to try to save that. And we see how much, well, actually Kindred joining around might be going for a kill, as the Aatrox does as well. XP&X is going to go down as the bot lane is also engaging in a fish.
Cataclysm goes in, Super Mega Death Rocket plus the Wild Growth, the one picked up, teleport, but it's not going to save you, Garrett. The flash away from the turret, so it's just a wasted teleport for Arthur Dent. I've seen this story before, Soapchan. A bot lane double kill for UCD Gold. Sounds a lot like game 1. Meanwhile, say goodbye. Is he going to get a free kill here? Yes, he will.
Look at that. That was a mark as well, wasn't it, Fish?
I thought the mark was on Aatrox.
Oh, was it though?
Yeah,
okay,
it
so
is. So no mark.
So okay, so no mark, but great positioning from Say Goodbye, just sneaking in that bush, being undetectable, and just getting the kill with the wolf. So really nice there. Also dropping the Herald on the top lane, getting all those platings. So much gold for the sheep here, as they are 3-0 with a 300 gold bounty.
Yeah, the solo plates on the Kindred, absolutely huge, especially going to help the fact that Me right now, a little bit further behind, 0-2 on the Aphelios, so Kindred is going to be your hyper carry you have to look to early in this game. Again, not quite sure how many stacks, we know it's at least one, might have picked up a second one on those River Scuttles, so it does look like that River Scuttle bot side was still the mark, so we'll have to see if we can get a Kindred stack look, but so far 3-0 is all that really matters. The Infernal Chains go down. XP&X taking quite a bit of damage from this Aatrox. That was my big question. Was A1C, did he have a secret tech up his sleeve? And so far, he's up 17 CS. It's looking pretty good, I gotta say. Kinda gotta eat my words a bit here.
Yeah, it's looking pretty nice, Fish, and I think that maybe ultimately the move wasn't like super intricate or anything. It was just, well, it's a Gallier. Magic resistance, right? So we just go with something that is full AD and lethality. And that's what they're doing. So basically, not only something that's going to do a lot of damage, but the little bits of CCs that Aatrox have here and there is definitely what's keeping A1CU on top of that mid lane, pushing in, getting so much CS advantage. They're rotating for this Drake here. J4 is already there and Kindred is around the corner. But I don't think it's going to be... Yeah, I don't think they're even going to look for a contest on this one.
Yeah, you can see they immediately turn away. Second dragon picked up, and it will be another Mountain Soul on the Rift. UCD Gold, only 2 away. Potentially looking at a 22-minute Soul here as well. We'll keep our eyes on that as World Ender is going to be used, but couldn't quite get in range for the Q2 to get that knock-up onto XPNX. But Say Goodbye is here. Has the mark onto the Aatrox. They're going to dive in. The Justice Punch going to get the knock-up. A1C looking for the finishing blow, and he gets it before Lamb's Spike goes down. Gotta get that bonus healing. Here comes a man with a plan. Can he save his mid laner? He cannot. But now he wants revenge. Chilling Smite gonna go right on to Say Goodbye. This is a 300 gold shutdown. Can they get it over to their AD carry? They don't. They give it to the jungler as he picks one up. But we're not done yet. The explosive cast into tower range. He doesn't quite get him in. And the man with the plan lives.
I was so sure it was within tower range. Oh my god, but Ava Eternal, no! Just getting caught out by the drunk man and Garrett coming around. But remember, the plan is also protecting that bot lane. If me is coming too, but I don't know if this is enough.
Ooh, nice flash from Arthur Dent. The Moonlight Vigil might be able to pick up point. What a wild growth!
Wow.
A grand flash away from the body slam! Who says supports don't take skill? Because that was absolutely insane from Ave Eternal. They just outplayed the entire Sac State team.
Wow, stunned. So beautiful. Ave Eternal allowing for Jinx Life Done to be able to survive, enabling the ADC to get the flash away. So of course, great job for Life Done there. Also flashing from, I don't exactly think, remember what it was, but it was definitely a final blow that was going down, just like this one on screen, as Galio is going to go down for A1CU. The final, the flash from Ave Eternal, as you said, against the body slam, that was, wow, that was so beautiful. It was just the chain of amazingly executed plays from UCD Gold as they're going to go for once again here.
The Infernal Chains lands, and that is a dead lamb. Say Goodbye with a second straight death. Arthur Dent can't do anything to save him. And A1C on the Aatrox absolutely popping off. I will say, you said, you pointed out, Soph Chan, it's Galio, right? Just pick some physical damage. I will say, fantastic restraint to you, A1C. I pull you up on OPGG. What do I see? You play a lot of Yone, and they didn't ban it, and you didn't pull out Yone against Galio? Either your team has told you you're never allowed to play it, or you have some great self-restraint, I gotta say.
Well, yeah, it really would have been such a great option as well. It would have been even more understandable than the Aatrox. But they're popping off on it 4-1-1, so I'm not questioning that as much.
Well, I feel like any Yone Yasuo player, even if they're not a main, if they're like their second most played, the chance that whenever they can play it, they lock it in. Like, they don't even let their team tell them, I am locking in Yone. So maybe UCD Gold has told A1C, look, you can't play the Yone. You got to earn it first. And I'll say he's earned it so far in this game. 15 minutes in, 4-1-1. And again, I'm just eating my words. As a man with a plan, here he comes. But I guess his plan was to kill the ward. A lot less exciting as we go mid lane here, and A1C doing some good damage.
Yeah, interesting to see them backing off that. Maybe they saw it was a better possibility to try and get the jungle and rotate for the Herald. But I don't know if J4 is going to get that fast enough. Actually, Kindred gave up on starting the Herald so far. They're going to go for the Scuttle instead. And Aatrox is catching up. That random noob as well. So it was just so close to resetting. But Say Goodbye guaranteed at the end, and also getting the mark on it, if I'm not mistaken.
They got the mark, got the objective bounty as well, so that's just some bonus gold over to Sac State. They desperately need that, but now Arthur Dent desperately needs some help. There's 4 members converging on the top lane, and the tower is not going to save you. Meanwhile, A1C just eliminates poor XPNX. Arthur Dent, your fate is the same. as he will go down. Looks like, who are we going to get the kill to? There we go. That random lol noob getting some revenge. It's a double kill topside for UCD Gold.
This is 16 minutes. Almost 17 on the clock. 6, 1, and 2 Aatrox. The one champion that we were like, nah, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then this happens. A1CU just getting everything under control every fight. The 1v1s, the 2v2s, the full-on team fights, the siege, everything. They've got it all. And almost a 40 CS lead.
Yeah, this Aatrox is reached borderline unkillable state. There's no grievous wounds that I can see for anyone on the side of Sac State right now, and they desperately need it for the Mordekaiser. They desperately need it for the Aatrox. They're going to start up their third dragon of the game, and I don't think it's even going to matter as Arthur Dent and that random lol noob. And the tables have turned on you, Arthur Dent. You are no longer the man in charge of the top lane. The dragon falls without even a blue member on screen. And UCD Gold looking like they're well on their way to moving to 4-0.
They really do. And maybe we should ask ourselves the question a little earlier today. What would Sacramento need to do to get this back to a game 3? I think so far, there have been a couple of mistakes. We mentioned Gragas possibly needing to be tankier, and they still went for the Night Harvest. And they look like they're going for the Archangel. So, like, it's not going to help them, especially if you're against the Mordekaiser. It doesn't look like that's going to be a good case for you. And, well, they're going to try to get a kill here on that random noob. The tower is pretty close to dead as well. Oh, the shielding is insane. The ultimate has to be popped, and 3 members necessary to get down that Mordekaiser. So, a lot of things wasted here. I mean, not wasted, but used, since they're going to get the objective bounty, but the rest of the team is coming back for retaliation.
Turtle chains go off, and the flash Q3. Meanwhile, now the plan is going to... Oh, he stays alive, does go down. Great use there, the Gale Force for IFME to get it in range. Gets a big 300 gold shutdown as well, but top lane, it's a double kill for the Aatrox. Now 8-1-2 has finished the Black Cleaver as well as the Eclipse. Has the steel-plated boots. He is an absolute menace. And yeah, I will say, I think Sac State, everything early game they did right. They got the Kindred ahead, who's that early game hyper carry who, as we saw last week, can take over a game. The problem was they didn't get the marks. They were getting kills on non-marked targets. They weren't getting their marked jungle camps. And now I look at this game state, and I don't know if anyone can fight A1C. He could probably 1v5 at this point right now.
Yeah, especially being 8-1-2, but at the same time, it's a 700 gold bounty. If anyone gets there like that of failures, the Kindred even, I think it would be so essential for them. And to be fair, they're starting to get their game together. They got the kill on the top on that random move. They got the kill on a man with a plan on mid lane as well. So it looks like they're coming back to this mid game better than they were when things started to get out of control in the early.
Baron's up. Curious to see if UCD Gold will try and maybe pull a sneaky one again. They don't have quite the same melting powers they had last game with the Corki and the Jinx, so I highly doubt they look that way, but they have potentially Mountain Soul in 2.5 minutes that Sac State has to contest. I'm always a big fan, Chan, of when you have 3 dragons, your opponent knows they have to contest that dragon, just pick up the Baron. Just get that free Baron and say goodbye. Well, you might as well say goodbye. Never mind, throws out the layup to spite. Thought maybe A1C would get the quick one shot, but luckily the Kindred ult will keep them alive. But yeah, I would if I'm UCD Gold, I just take Baron here when Dragon's up, because you know Sac State has to grab Dragon, because if you get Mountain Soul, that just makes Aatrox harder to kill.
Oh yeah. And they're going to engage here on the AV Eternal. It's not enough damage as she has so much shielding. So much shielding. So it's hard to go past that bar, that green bar onto the HP bar. But I definitely agree with you, Fish. I believe that would be a great option. And what I would do as well is try to keep, if Sacramento State notices that UCD Gold are going for the Baron, that they leave somebody in the Drake. Like, so if that UCD leaves somebody in the Drake, because if Sacramento State goes one step ahead and rotates to Baron instead, they can get the soul anyway. So I think it would be a good action and counteraction from one team and the other.
It looks like they're not even going to wait for the Dragon to spawn. It's UCD
wow.
Gold hopping onto the Baron. Arthur Dent is here. And you do have the Hero's entrance up on XPNX, but he is bot lane with no way to get up to that mid lane. He has got to get on his high horse. Here comes the teleport from that random lol noob. Garrett walking in. Can the Galio get in range to help battle out this coin flip Baron? They don't see the Hero's entrance yet. Moonlight Vigil gonna go in. Baron picked up by UCD Gold. A1C pops the World Ender, but there's the shutdown we were talking about. It goes over to Ivy. Life done though on the back line, just shooting out rockets. One more attack onto Garrett, gonna pick up a kill. Ivy gonna go down as well. That's the AD carry. The Jinx is excited. Can they get in range of XPNX? Yes, they can. They go forward with the Gale Force. They're gonna get one more kill. This is a quadra kill for Jinx, and it's Sac State, who once again is staring at gray screens.
Yes, it is, and they're gonna be pushing in this mid lane so aggressively. They have the Jinx excited. Of course, it's gonna run out in a little bit, but she still has all the attack speed, the buff from Baron. So this is going to be suddenly a 2 towers down if they want to do that. Actually, they're rotating for their soul, so I think it's a good move, a better move, especially with the objective bounty. So keeping that Jinx safe is the best option. 5-1-3 right now with that 700 gold bounty. I was waiting on that fight fish to see Avitano be close to say goodbye to get the polymorph and deny any possibility of a steal, but instead they went for the other side of the pit. So I thought that was interesting. What do you think was like the thing that made UCD win that fight on the Baron?
I think that the biggest difference was in that situation, if you're Sac State, you want to get your Kindred into the middle of that Baron pit, you want to throw down the ult, and then you want Galio to just land in the middle and get a 3 or 4 man knockout. I think the big difference was XPNX he got caught. It was a great call by UCD Gold. They see he's bot lane. They know his teleport isn't up for him to teleport and then Hero's entrance. I think that was the big difference. There was no Galio ult into the middle of that pit to get the huge knockup. And without that Galio CC, unfortunately, it's Galio that's the useless mid laner right now, not the Aatrox like I predicted. You need Galio in these team fights.
Oh, definitely, and especially with the ulti, like, you have to get the knockup, you have to get the buff onto your teammates, and I don't know if that random noob has any idea that Say Goodbye is there. They were in the fog of war, but it doesn't look like they are. Are they that interested in trying to get this? Because that random noob is super strong right now, even if they are 3 and 5. It's a Mordekaiser, they can survive, and the rest of the team is joining as well, so...
It's also a tank Mordekaiser here as Arthur Dent going to get caught out. Super Mega Death Rocket just barely misses. The Zap misses as well. Arthur Dent survives, but they have to retreat, and that's a free tower for UCD Gold.
What a dodge. Oh, I wish we could have a replay on that dodge. Oh, that was so satisfying fish. I remember the plan going in onto the dive. Getting, oh, Jinx, life done, really knocking them out. As the ulti's coming in too, and they're gonna be dealing damage from afar, as a Jinx should. Kindred ulti is there, it's not gonna be able to save anyone else from Sacramento State. They take the tier 2 bot, and they keep on snowballing this game.
And you pointed this out in game number 1, Sofchan. Somebody has got to get on top of Jinx, and they couldn't do it in game 1, and they're not even getting close in game 2. They eliminated everyone. I want to say that random lol noob actually pulled the Kindred out of the Lamster Spike. Say Goodbye died before the ult faded. And now we'll see if these 3 members can defend the Nexus. Moonlight Vigil gonna go in. Last stand here for the side of Sac State. And they're gonna be standing on their graves and looking at a gray screen. Say Goodbye, trying to at least pick up a couple of kills. Not even gonna come close. Ave Eternal trying to protect that perfect scoreline 0-0-18 on the Lulu, the minion wave crashing in. One Nexus tower is going to fall. The Jinx is excited. The second Nexus tower will fall. What can XBNX and say goodbye do? World Ender gonna be popped. One more kill for this Aatrox onto the Galio, just to prove for good measure that Fish was absolutely clueless as Sac State. They lose game 2, and UCD Gold picks up the sweep and is 4-0.
4-0 Fish on NECC. Wow, that is incredible. Let's give a good shout out to like the matchups that they had. They won a sweep week 1 versus UBCO Blue, a sweep versus UBC Onyx, 2-1 versus UBC Topaz, and right now another sweep against Sacramento State. Really, UCD Gold. I mean, teach me some skills. I want to know what you guys are on, because this is awesome. I haven't seen a snowball like as well executed as this has been in a while.
Yeah, you have to remember, map score is that tiebreaker in the NECC if it's a tied record. Right now, they've only lost one map in 4 weeks. That's, as you said, they are absolutely snowballing out of control. They have the matchups played perfectly. Sac State does fall down to 1-2, so I think some things they can definitely work on. Arthur Dent has some good things going in the top lane there. Definitely some bright spots, but I will say UCD Gold did their homework. They knew where to exploit this Sac State team, and they did it perfectly in game 1, and they did it perfectly in game 2. And really, after 10 minutes in game 1 and game 2, Sofchan, it was over. UCD Gold had the advantage, and they never looked back.
It really was. And it's so interesting. Like, I really want to point out how cool like that tempo was, because as you said, we had a good start for Sac State until the 10 minutes. So they kept it cool like so well that they knew like, it's fine, we got it. Mid game is ours, don't worry about it. So just basically keep doing what you're doing, get the leads on CS. We saw that a lot coming from a man with a plan. We saw that coming from a 1CU, right? On the mid lane. So really those things were perfect for UCD Gold to leverage themselves onto a better mid game. And then the ganks coming from a man with a plan on the bot lane, especially guaranteeing the snowball for the Jinx, which worked in the first game, was going to work on the second, because even though they had a Galio, they had the Gragas, they had the possibilities to get on the Jinx, but they couldn't do it because of the Jarvan, because of the Lulu, because of the Mordekaiser. So really, UCD Gold, even though we gave the 2 drafts for Sacramento State Fish, wow, incredible counterplay that they could show us here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we were wrong on both of them. I mean, again, I thought that Aatrox into the Galio was an absolute mistake. A1C proving me wrong, and I will say, also, big shout out, I don't know who the shot caller is for UCD Gold. Those Baron calls in both game 1 and game 2 were so clean. Won them the game. Absolutely phenomenal. Big shout out to UCD Gold. Moving to 4-0. Sac State. Don't worry, you're not out of it yet. You just got to figure out those mid-game transitions, and you'll be good to go. Well, that'll do it for us tonight on the NECC. We, of course, got more action tomorrow. But if League of Legends is your thing, we'll be back here next week. So make sure you stay tuned, and we'll see you guys later.
I wanna know your dark side. I wanna know your secrets. I wanna be your lifeline. So I wait for you, wait for me. Wait for you, wait for me. Tell me you're more than just a highlight.